Here's Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are ready to talk, some more combine talk. We've got plenty to talk about with that. Reed, I'm just going to go ahead and say, man, I might be a little bit of a psychic here. I know we played the game at the end of the show trying to guess some 40 times. And we got to figure out how we're going to be grading this, right? Because are we going off of like milliseconds? Are we going off of just the, I guess, what is that? The regular second? I don't know. You get what I'm saying, though. But we had a friendly little wager at the end. Nothing was on the line, but we guessed some 40 times. I think you might have. Did you get one or two of them right, Reed?
I think I may have got one, but I don't exactly remember. But I do remember seeing a bunch of those 40 times, and I remember some of us were either spot on or really close.
Yeah, I know with Tim Keenan, and I got to thank you, Reed. I got to give you some thanks on this one. I owe you. Because initially I said, I think around 5'2", but I feel like I'm being generous. I think it would be a little bit more in the 5'3" range. But then I was going to settle on 5'2" to give my guy the benefit of the doubt. But then I remember kicking it back to 5'3" because you had picked 5'2". So I got that one. And then the next one with LT Overton, I think I got that one spot on. And I said 485 to 487. He ended up running a 487. Now, I don't know the official because one thing that was interesting was that there was a headline or an article that basically said his official 40 time was like a 4.66. I don't know if that was a typo. I don't know if they maybe, had him mixed up with somebody else. But for anybody wondering, the unofficial is just the initial time that they just read. But once they get all the official times, and that's your actual time. So I have to go back and double check on where everything lined up with the official times because I'm not too sure myself. Justin Jefferson, excuse me, he kind of split all of us. Because I went 4.52. I know you and Chase both went like 4.63. I think Wyatt at like 4.50. He ended up at around, 4.57. So we're close. If we're going to just say 4.5, then I guess I could take credit on that one. But since I said 4.52, I'm not going to take credit for that one. Now, Deontay Lawson did not run. Those guys did some field drills. We'll talk about how they did and kind of give our thoughts on that here in a little bit. But today, next on schedule, the linebackers and D-line, they're all doing bench and wrapping things up today. Then they're out of there, man. They get to fly back to wherever they've been training, home, wherever that next stop may be. And they're back on to, the whole path to the draft. Next up on schedule for the combine today, though, you got the DBs and the tight ends, which means we have Damani Jackson and we also have Josh Cuevas that will be taking part, in the field drills today. Now, a lot of people have high expectations for Damani Jackson, which I do too. I think he has a chance to run a really fast 40. He was one of the faster guys on the team last year. I saw somebody like predict him in like the 4.2 range, Reed, which is, I don't know about that. I mean, that's like,
man, 4.2.
Yeah, that's I don't know who put those expectations on him. I don't know if I was going that high, but I wouldn't be shocked if you get a 4.3 out of him. And it could very well be a 4.4 type deal. I mean, the starts play a big role. How you finish plays a big role. Even just making sure you're running in as straight as a line as possible can affect your time, even by, shaving off a couple tenths of a second. So all those little details matter. He definitely feels like he could be a 4.3 guy, in my opinion. So we'll have to see. Josh Cuevas, I'm not too sure if he plans on doing everything. Remember, he had the whole foot injury, broken foot, all that stuff. So I'm not sure if he plans on doing everything, but we'll have to see. Throughout the week, we also still have access to all these media availabilities, interviews, all that good stuff, which means a lot of these guys have been speaking on the podium before they take part in the field drill. So we heard from Damani Jackson, Josh Cuevas. They all spoke already. Ty Simpson, the quarterbacks, they have now taken the podium. So we got an interview. Shout out to Dwight, always tagging us in the latest. So we will hear from Ty Simpson and see what he had to say leading up to his performance at the NFL Combine. So we will be going through this weekend. We'll keep up with it. Sunday is when it concludes. Everything finishes. So when we come back Monday, we'll have plenty to talk about in terms of how everybody did. Kind of grading, guys. Not necessarily grading. I hate saying graded because one thing I will say about combine season, as much fun as it is to watch and it's entertaining, we all enjoy it. I think sometimes people put too much into everything, right? At the end of the day, my dad, if he jumps on here today, we'll see. I know he's been MIA the past few days. I know he's had a lot going on. He's been moving and doing some stuff, but maybe he'll jump on. He hates stuff like this. He calls it the underwear Olympics. At the end of the day, I think sometimes people get so consumed in what's happening at the combine, at pro days, that they forget the most important thing. And that's how good of a football player you are. Now, there's certain situations and exceptions where you're going off of potential, and a guy might not have lived up to his full potential in college, but you're just salivating at the thought of this guy could be a really damn good football player, right? If we get the right coaches with him, he's got all the physical tools, all the intangibles you can ask for. He just hadn't been able to put it together. Like, I understand that aspect, totally get it, because I've been like that my whole career, really. Going into college, I mean, I was 210 pounds. That's definitely a little bit more on the developmental side. And even going into the NFL, I had basically about a year of starting experience. I would have had two, but I missed about 10 games my junior season. So I get that piece. But I think sometimes, Reed, we get so caught up in the 40 times, the arm length, all these things that you just forget. When you turn on the tape, can the guy play football or not? And the reason I'm thinking about this is I look at Ruben Bain, who I think is clearly one of the best players in this draft, definitely one of the top defenders in the draft. In his arm length, his arms were under 31 inches, and then you start seeing all these stats and analytics, and don't get me started on analytics. I know they're great. I get the future's AI and technology, but people put so much into it. And I'm seeing numbers like, well, there's never been a player with arms shorter than 31 or 32 inches record double-digit sacks in the last 20 years. And I'm like, I mean, I get it. People are hearing that and they're like, whoa, that's a little bit of a concern. But I'm thinking about like how many players actually had under 32-inch arms, right? So that's part of the equation. If there's not many guys, that's probably going to, contribute to there not being a number of guys having double-digit sacks. And then ultimately, Reed, I just look at it like, all right, when you turn on the tape, when he went against, the tackles at Miami, which one of them being the best offense line / tackle in this draft at practice every day. Could he not hold his own? Scouts had plenty of opportunities to go watch their practices, watch those one-on-ones, watch him play big-time football, whether it's, in the ACC, which we know is not the biggest conference, still some decent teams they play. But even in the playoffs, when they're playing teams that actually were good, SEC teams, playing a team like Indiana in the national championship game. I think that's the most important thing. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that with all these other factors going on, which I get it is part of it. But then there is the world where it's the other way around. And you look at the linebackers from Ohio State. And I'll be the first one to tell you, Reed, those dudes, man, like that's a situation where you just see those numbers that they're putting up at the combine. And clearly you got to go back and watch the tape, which those guys have really damn good tape as well. But when you see a linebacker and there's two of them, which is crazy, the pair of Ohio State linebackers, I mean, it makes no sense that they had two of these guys on their roster playing together at 6'4" and 6'5" apiece, both 240 plus, 43.5-inch vert for Sonny Styles. Like, let me pull up his combine numbers, because Sonny Styles was, I mean, he might have had one of the best showings at the NFL combine that I think I've seen in quite some time. 6'5", 244. He's an off-ball linebacker. Could definitely probably play some Sam outside backer if you need him to. Ran a 4.46, 43.5-inch vertical jump. And then the broad jump was off the charts as well. I think his RAS, or whatever they call that statistic, they basically take all your numbers together. I think he was like a perfect 10 as a prospect. And then you got Ava Reese, who is literally like no different, damn near the same measurable, same times. I mean, Reed, I don't think I've ever seen a tandem of linebackers that genetically look like they just were built in a lab like that. What'd you think of those guys' combine performance?
I was honestly, of course, Arvell Reese has been getting that, that 2 to 5 range I've been seeing. So I was kind of expecting great numbers from him. And I knew Sonny Styles as well was an elite player in himself, but just the fact that he got a 10-0, technically speaking, perfect score with being 6'5", 244 and running a sub 4.5 40. I mean, there's a small percentile of people on this earth that can do that.
Yeah, No, it really is. And to think they were both on the same field together, same team, crazy. But showing some love to our guys, man. I thought our guys, performed well, did some good stuff. I want to go back to the D line real quick. I thought Tim Keenan looked really good. The 5'3", 40. I mean, for a guy that's 6'1", 320 something pounds, I think. Uh, Solid. I mean, number. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you're not really too worried about a 40 with a nose tackle. Maybe you consider, let's say, I don't know, like the 10-yard split, things like that, more for linemen. But at the end of the day, it's really just about checking boxes. But I look at how he was moving, take the 5'3" away. He was running really well, man. He looked like he was moving. And then in the drills, he looked really smooth. I thought he did a really good job in the field drills. LT, I know some people were saying he looked a little slow. And I think you just got to remember there's different types of players. He's in the edge category, but he's definitely a tweener. I mean, I know he's 275, but he's a guy that, a defensive end in a 3-4. He definitely could play a 4-3 end as well. He's not going to be a stand-up outside backer potential type guy like some of those other guys he was with. He's going to be a lot stronger than those guys. But you turn on the tape, yeah, he's a 4'8", 4'9" type player, not the fastest guy, but he's heavy-handed, has really good technique. He's a force against the run. In the right system, I think he's going to be a really good player. So I thought he did well. Then even the backers, I thought they looked good. I mean, Justin Jefferson, we knew he was going to test well. 4.57 is a good number for a linebacker. Sometimes it looks like you're getting, I guess, outshined a little bit when you see the speed of these linebackers nowadays. I mean, 4.5 is almost kind of, it used to be like, damn, if a linebacker ran a 4.5, everybody's like, turning their head. Nowadays, 4.5 is almost kind of expected, not expected, but it's not as like, I guess, eye-opening as it was. But really good stuff for Justin Jefferson. I want to say he had some good numbers with the vert and stuff as well. 38.5-inch vert, same vert as me. 10.5-inch broad jump. Sorry, I think I got some issues with my, I don't know what's going on here. All right. It looks like it's an ad playing from the NFL website. I was like, what is going on? But it was coming out of my laptop instead of my headphones. I don't know. Anyway, that said, I thought our guys did really well yesterday, kicking things off. Defensive line, linebackers. And again, today we got defensive backs and we got tight ends. And through the weekend, you'll have the rest of the guys, receivers, quarterbacks, which I'm excited to see our guy Ty Simpson. And speaking of Ty Simpson, we actually will get to hear from him at the podium here in a minute. So we got all that coming up right here on the Miller's Edge Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. But first, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems...
Wait, I feel like, hold on. Let me make sure my mic was just going. Reed, did my mic sound low? Because something tells me that my whole system was just not configured right. Because I want to say, hold on one second. Hopefully that wasn't the case. Because that was weird, man. It was playing through the speakers of my computer. I was so confused. All right, no, I think it's good. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get my throat cleared up, man. Goodness, I'm all over the place. Yeah, Tim looked good. I thought he looked good too. Who we got in here? Kyle, what's up? Jake, what's up? Travelpreneur, what's up? Crystal, what's going on? TGIF, absolutely. Steven, what's up? From Virginia. We're about, is that Martinville, Virginia? I don't think I've heard of that. Shout out to Martinville. Jersey Wall inspired me to frame and hang up Bama track uni spikes and Letterman jacket. Oh, that's what's up. Oh, did you run track, BJ? Did you run track at Alabama? I didn't realize that. Daryl, what's going on? Goodness, let me get my throat. I think it's that spring weather, guys. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Definitely want to talk a little bit about, there's a, oh, I forgot to tell you guys, we got, we're going to be breaking down the Alabama offensive lineman on Monday. with Landon. I just want to let me make sure I pronounce his last name right. But he does a lot. Is it Tengwall? I think it's Tengwall is how you pronounce it. But he's been breaking down a lot of the Alabama offensive line. As a matter of fact, we can kind of early preview that today. That way, when we get him on Monday, we can discuss it because he's going to jump on the stream. So I'll put up the tape on stream when he does join us. But I think you guys are going to enjoy that. Let me see. I'll show you a tweet. You've seen this stuff. Looks like he got a new video. He's doing a series on breaking down like all the, not just the transfer offensive linemen, but all the offensive linemen on Alabama's roster right now going into spring. So this is he's going to join us Monday. His name's Landon Tengwall, but he played at Penn State. He covers college football, does a lot of like film breakdowns.
Let's talk about Ethan Fields, who I think is going to start at one of the guard positions for Bama. So right here, you are running inside zone. Watch him just base up this 2-eye right here. He's going to take one step. He sinks his pads. I love the pad level that he plays with. He's a big guy, but he actually gets underneath this defensive tackle, hands inside, and just absolutely drives him out of the way, lifting him up, and completely turns his man, gives his running back a really nice lane to cut off of his backside. Beautiful block right here. Okay, here we go. Now we're at right guard, and he's going to come down, gallop step. He's going to knock this over and stay on it.
We'll dive a little bit more in that in a second. Hold on, let me bring us back. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. We are wide open. No guests unless my dad jumps on here. So if you guys want to jump in on the conversation, make sure you guys do that, 205-342-9904. You guys have been a little slower on the phone lines, man. I want to get y'all's thoughts on everything going on. We definitely can talk NFL Combine. We'll talk some Alabama football. I was mentioning during the break here on our streams. Again, you guys can always check us out at the Miller's Edge. We will be joined by Landon Tengwall on Monday, who is a former Penn State offensive lineman, but he covers college football. He has a show that he does on YouTube that I'm sure you guys have seen his stuff, man. He does a lot of film breakdowns on X, and he's done a number of videos so far on the Alabama offensive line. And right now he's working on a series where he's going to be breaking down basically all the guys on Alabama's roster, offensive line, all the offensive linemen on Alabama's roster, including the transfers and the current guys, some of the young players. And he started the series a few days ago. He's going to be doing it over the next couple of weeks, but he will be joining us on Monday. So for all of you guys that enjoy film breakdowns, now we're going to be live on radio, so I don't know how much we can really break down in live time, but we will pull up some of the videos that he's done and let him give his thoughts on Alabama's current offensive line room, which I'm curious to hear some of those thoughts because he's been able to look at, and I didn't even know where to find tape on this guy. Matter of fact, we got this pulled up right here. Is it Ethan Fields, the transfer from Ole Miss? So I'm curious to watch. I haven't seen this breakdown. I guess we could probably play it on the show, Reed, but the problem is I don't know, for radio, I don't know, since they can't see the tape. I'll watch it during the break and see if we can play it, if it's, I guess, descriptive enough for our radio listeners. That said, he will join us on Monday at the top of the hour. Looking forward to that. We'll do a deep dive on the offensive line room, which I'll just give you guys a heads up. He actually is pretty, he's got a lot of, I guess, good things to say. Maybe I should put it like that about a number of the linemen that we brought in via the transfer portal. He did a breakdown on Javen James, offensive tackle out of Mississippi State. He really likes him. He feels that he's going to be the starter at left tackle this upcoming season. And then now he just put out a breakdown on Ethan Fields, guard out of Ole Miss, which I've watched tape on Javen James. I haven't seen as much on Ethan Fields just because he was more of a reserve guy. I didn't even know what games he really played in, but we will take a look at Landon's breakdown here in a moment and give some thoughts. But in terms of what he had to say about Javen James, I do agree with a number of things he mentioned with Javen, especially the power that he plays with. I mean, it's evident the guy is a very powerful player. He's got a hell of a punch. When he gets his hands on you, it's clear that, it's tough, right? It's tough to get off of him. It's a lot to work with. However, the only thing that I mentioned, and I don't know if you saw this tweet, Reed, or if any of our listeners saw this, but the only thing that I would add to Javen James' tape, and I know we've talked about him a little bit when he first committed, was that one of the biggest issues I see with him, his set, is fine. He actually moves well, good footwork. We talked about the power that he plays with. both in the run game and in pass pro, right? He's a powerful guy. However, one critique that I don't think Landon made that I would just throw in there, and I take Landon's, I guess opinion on him. I respect that 100%. But one thing that I noticed was that he's almost over reliant on that two-hand punch. And what I mean by that is, if you guys know a little bit about pass pro, there's a number of techniques that guys like to use when they're in pass pro, and it starts with their set, the type of set they're doing, which he highlights here. He mixes up a little bit. I can, matter of fact, put this on the screen so you guys can see this. He mixes it up.
Fearless with
the reason I say mix it up, because you got things like a jump set, which he highlights here, and I'll just let the video play, where you're basically jumping the guy. So you're basically cutting off the angle of a defensive end, which I used to hate because me being a speed guy, not the strongest guy, I need to get my momentum going. And it's funny enough, speaking of Mississippi State, they used to have tackles. Man, it was like 2016. I was playing Mississippi State, and I just remember they were jump setting me the whole game, and I was getting so mad because I'm like, man, it was hard for me to really get in my rush, and I just wasn't really like expecting it. It just kind of caught me off guard. Fast forward to this guy, he mixes it up. You see him do some jump sets. You see him just typically, do your typical, vertical sets, all that. I'm good with that. But when I talk about the two-hand punch, what I mean is, as an edge rusher, we always say, beat the hands, beat the man. And sometimes when tackles are a little bit too eager to punch, they rely on that power. It almost creates an easy target for defensive ends to counter that, with good hand combat. Meaning, like, if a tackle's inviting me, like, my goal is I want the tackle's hands. That's why I do things like I stab, which I'm talking about football-wise, right? Take my inside hand, and I'm stabbing that inside pec. Why do I do that? I want the tackles to shoot his hands. To me, I think Javen James, he shoots his hands too much. It's almost like it's too predictable, right? Where if you go watch the Missouri game, and he's going against, granted, two really good edge guys, one that just transferred to Miami, who's probably going to be a first-round pick next year's draft. The other one probably going to be a first-round pick in this draft. So I get they're really good players, but you see how he exposed himself with, he's kind of lunging and just punching. Now, if he lands it, it's going to, he's going to get a nice pop. It's going to throw you off your track, and it's good. But if you got a guy who's ready for that, and he's ready to beat the hands, it kind of sets himself up for failure. So my only thing with him is he probably needs to work on that. The good news is that is coachable, right? And there's different techniques that guys can do or learn or start to implement. For example, like independent hands. Basically, that's more of when the offense line, instead of just two-hand punching all the time, he might, throw an inside punch and then respond with his outside arm, right? To then, secure the guy. It's just kind of playing with it's almost playing with two hands independently, right? That's why it's called independent hands versus just two hands at the same time. You also have like flash techniques, which I think would be helpful if he started doing stuff like that, which is basically where you might fake a punch or like fake a post or an independent hand to get the defensive end to throw his move, and then you go and grab them and you lock them up. That's a little bit more, when I say advanced, I'm not saying you don't see it in college. A lot of college guys do it, but in the NFL especially, tackles, the more they get reps and experience, they start doing stuff like that, and it really messes with you. Flashing hands used to always get me because I was looking to beat hands. So when they flash their hands, I'm going to throw my move. Say I'm throwing a scissors, which is like a two-hand swipe. I completely miss because then he pulls his hands back, and then what does he do? He just immediately grabs me. So pass rush and pass pro stuff, it's like a game. It's like chess. All I'm saying is if you can work with him to kind of help not be so predictable and not over-rely on that power, I think he can be a good player. But it seems like Landon thinks he's almost a pencil-in starter at left tackle. I would say I definitely think it's going to be a little bit more of a competition. I know they like Jackson Lloyd. I think he's a really good athlete. Definitely very raw last year, but I think with those two guys competing throughout the spring and fall camp, I think you'd probably see a situation where it's really between whichever one of those guys gives you the best option. You got a veteran guy and this guy who needs to just clean up some stuff on the technical side, but then you got a young player in Jackson Lloyd who has a lot of potential, but was very raw. You just got to see how far he can develop by the time the season comes. So I don't know, just want to throw that out there because Monday we'll do a deep dive with Landon and we'll talk about everybody, tackles, centers, guards, everybody on that offensive line. But Reed, I don't think I've asked you this. I always ask Chase this. Did you play football in high school? You have a background playing? If so, what position did you play?
So yeah, Christian, I did play football, but football was not my main sport. My main sport was soccer. And so I was more of a center attacking mid, otherwise known as a cam. But when I did play football, I played it for, what was it? Technically 2 seasons, because my 3rd season I had stress fractures in both my legs. And so that was pretty bad. But I just did special teams, and it was pretty cool because I just, I'd be at practice, but it wasn't like maybe you can kind of account to this, but like it wasn't like practice, if you know what I mean.
Wait, so when you say special teams, are you talking about like kicking and punting special teams or
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
pretty much.
yeah.
I did that, and then also like kickoff, kind of just did a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so you definitely were you're one of the guys that I was jealous of, because while we were hitting each other, beating up on
There
each
you
other the
go.
whole time, yeah, you guys were just dude, it was the craziest thing. We had a JK Scott who was our punter. I tell the story all the time, but love JK, man. JK is, one of the most interesting people you could meet, man, in a good way. He's just himself. But he just had all these like specific exercises that he always did. And it was crazy to me because, he would convince Coach Saban, like, hey, I don't think I should do fourth quarter. Here's why. And he'd show Coach Saban his alternative plan. And Coach Saban agreed to this stuff. So we're doing all this hard stuff, and JK's just doing yoga and Pilates and stuff. And then at practice, like the specials are playing like wall ball and stuff. And I'm like, this is the craziest thing to me. Maybe I chose the wrong position. That said, JK was damn good at his job, so it made sense. But believe it or not, I play a little soccer too, Reed. I played defender, stopper, when I first started. Then when I played a little bit indoor league, I played some forward. I don't know why I just randomly started playing forward, but I just did. But it was fun, man. I enjoy soccer. Definitely a soccer fan. I don't really watch. Do you watch like that, or do you keep up with it or no?
I used to heavily, like from that middle school, like late middle school, early high school kind of era. But the problem is with most of it being kind of overseas, trying to watch it. I mean, of course, once the World Cup comes around, I instantly jump back into it. And maybe sometimes like the Champions League, the Euro League kind of thing. But otherwise, if it's like a regular matchup, not really, no.
Yeah. I need to get back into it, man. You're right. I used to keep up like Barcelona, Real Madrid, a lot of those bigger clubs a while ago, but I don't really watch as much anymore. But you're right, World Cup coming up, that will be fun. Speaking of coming up, we got to hit this break. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this Free for All Friday, 205-342-9904. We're talking a little bit about everything right now, going from A to B to Z, you name it. Yeah, we got it right here on this Free for All Friday. This is Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property?
All right, let me watch the rest of this Fields one.
His man falls off down here. He's going to get up on the linebacker. And you know what? He just says, forget about it. I'm just going to ragdoll you. Just toss you down to the ground, get on top of you, take your manhood from you. Right here. Love this rep. Watch this. Just really, really stout. Has really nice footwork and always keeps a nice base like this. Plays with a good pad level. He's just going to completely toss this thing over. See how it's extending, completely walling this side off, and once again, giving a really nice lane for his running back to go through. All right, right here. Check out our guy at right guard again. But I want you to look at someone else. We got number 5 over here. Number 5 from Tulane. He thinks he's cool. He's going to go ahead and hit a swim move on this tight end. Swim around. Made him look silly. I'm in the clear. Guess what? Bow! Get absolutely lit up. One more time at full speed. Bink! That's what Ethan Fields brings to the table. This is a physical offensive lineman. Here we go. I'm going to have to go ahead and base up this wide 3 technique. This is where a lot of guys struggle, is when you're trying to move this way and you get slanting this way. And what he does a great job is, as soon as he gets movement, he's not out of control. He's able to brace back into this thing. He says, okay, I'm going to completely hand him off to my center, make sure my center has him all the way good. I'm going to toss him over, get up on this linebacker, completely seal him up, always moving these legs. Look at these things like pistons, driving. And my running back, this is the kiss of death right here. Listen, you see an offensive lineman put his hand up like that, that means that this guy is getting hawked 9 out of 10 times. It's always, that's the way it is. You can always hope that rep is over, but it's normally not. Okay, here we go. We got a combo block right here between the right guard and the center.
I'll be honest. I mean, the tape is really good. These clips that he's pointing out, without a doubt, man. Moves well, good footwork, very powerful, climbing to second level correctly, right? Nice job bumping, climbing. My question is though, is he? I mean, he was a reserve guy, man. I mean, like, I wonder what the story was there. You know, why it was so hard for him to get on the field at Ole Miss. I'm genuinely just curious. I don't know if you guys know more about Ethan Fields, but to my knowledge, he was like a reserve guy there for the last couple of years.
This is Ethan Fields, and he knows double teaming up to number 5. This is the IQ that I like. He knows, hey, look how far inside he is. I can stay extra thick on this down block. So watch him get into this, and he's really playing back into this thing, waiting, and then he's going to fully extend, try to throw him over a little bit, and then I'm climbing up to this linebacker. Quarterback decides to pull it, but if this was a run, this thing is getting cleared up because of Ethan Fields. This would have been a really, really nice lane for the running back.
He might be that guy. Well, listen, always be patient when you watch highlights. Now, trust me, I'll be the first one to tell you. I mean, these are some really good clips, man. Displays a lot of good, qualities out of an offensive lineman, especially at guard. I don't know if we've seen any pass pro clips yet. I can't remember, but I always tell people, man, just when it's highlights, you can be excited and be optimistic, but always be a little cautiously optimistic, especially when it's something where it's like, I'm just curious why he wasn't playing the Ole Miss. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the deal? Did he get injured? Did he get beat out? Could be a number of things. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've been talking about a number of things, man. And we've been talking about the combine a little bit, talked a little bit about some offensive linemen. We will be joined by Landon Tengwall on Monday again. He breaks down a lot of tape for college football, and he's doing some draft stuff too right now. But check him out if you haven't. He's got a YouTube channel, does some really good stuff, and he's starting to do a lot of work with Alabama. He played at Penn State, so he initially covered a lot of Penn State, really covered a lot of different teams in college football, including Alabama in the past. But I think he mentioned he's doing like a series on all the offensive linemen for Alabama, then even the quarterbacks as well. So we'll get his thoughts on what he's been seeing on the tape he's watched on Monday on the top of the hour. But we're between breaks, we've been watching some of the cut-ups that he's made so far, covering a couple of these offensive linemen that he's posted on his X account, which you guys can also check out at Landon Tengwall on X. All right, I want to jump back to the combine here for a second because like I mentioned, we got the field stuff going on, but you still got all the media and interviews going on. And Ty Simpson, former quarterback here, got a chance to, step up to the podium and was interviewed while he's at the combine. So let's go ahead and hear from former quarterback 1, Ty Simpson.
It was a formal meeting. How did that go, and what
you kind of take away from the meeting with those guys?
Just a super great organization. I went in there, had some fun with myself. Got to know those guys pretty good, and just had some fun. That's the biggest thing about these meetings. You know what I mean? Just be yourself, have some fun, talk some ball, and let everything else fall in God's plan.
Ty, are you 100% healthy for this process?
I am, yeah, 100% healthy. That's why I'm decided to throw and excited about it.
You often talk about your faith in football, and even today, you have a verse you live by, or kind of want to expand on that?
Yeah, of course, right. Like John 3:16 is a staple, but the one that I pride myself on is Michael 5:5, and then it really just talks about God being your peace, and in a stressful environment like the NFL is in football, and anxiety driven to where you want to perform so well and you want to impress everybody. But in all reality, right, God's put you here for a reason, and saying His name and just praying, it gives me peace. And talking about something that I really love, which is my faith in football, really just gives me a great heartwarming feeling. And the fact that God's put me on this earth, I fully believe He put me on this earth for a bigger reason, to play football and honor Him. So to be able to sit here talking to you guys at the the NFL Combine and talk about my faith is just a step in the process of making sure that when I get to playing, that I honor Him even more. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, right, I got to play better. I got to have, accountability in that. I got to, make sure that we win those, big time games. I think that, this kind of happens sometimes in the sense of, right, like, we played better teams. We had better, they had better schemes, right? And, we just got to make it simple. We got to make the easy plays easy. Got to, stick to what we're good at. And I think a lot of the times, right, like us being banged up, we had some injuries. We just got to overcome it.
I just wanted to pause that for 2 seconds. I don't know if you guys heard that. Reed, maybe you heard that too, but he said sometimes we played better teams or teams that had better schemes. And sometimes we just got to simplify things. Now, I'm not saying he said that like in a bad way. It sounded like he was just being honest. And I don't know. To me, that's a pretty interesting, I guess, quote from him right there. Because at least I've been mentioning that. Man, it just seems like the offense has been a little bit too complicated at times, and maybe they needed to simplify things and find an identity. And it sounded like that's literally what he just said. Hold on, I'm gonna go back a couple seconds, make sure I heard that right.
I think that, this kind of happens sometimes in the sense of, right, like, we played better teams. We had better, they had better schemes, right? And, we just got to make it simple. We got to make the easy plays easy. Got to, stick to what we're good at. And I think a lot of the times, right, like us being banged up, we had some.
I don't know. I can kind of see it going both ways. I can see him basically saying, like, from an execution standpoint, Reed, they got to just execute the little things, which I think that's part of what he's saying. But also, the thing he's saying is kind of just not overcomplicate things, just kind of just go out there and play. Am I reading too much into that, Reed, or what do you think?
No, I'm kind of with you there. I think his main emphasis point is that, sometimes it just comes down to doing the little things correct. And maybe there was some times that he was referring to that he thought throughout the season that they just didn't get that done. And so I don't think you're looking too much into it, but it did also kind of catch my eye, kind of like you.
Yeah. I mean, which is fair. I mean, when you have a very complex system, I get what he's saying, but better team, better schemes. I wonder, I mean, Indiana, I think we clearly could put that one in there. I wonder who else he would consider, better team, better scheme. Maybe what? Georgia? Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's continue.
Injuries, we just got to overcome it, and big players step up. But I'm really proud of the team. I'm not taking anything away from our team and what they did. Right, like we won a playoff game on the road, coming down 17-0. We went to the Rose Bowl. We went to the SEC championship. That's a long season, guys. Like I'm not trying to make an excuse by any means, but the fact that we started off the season the way we did and went all the way down, and had a really good game stretch. Like super proud of my teammates, and super happy for what they did, and I love those guys, and super proud, and to be an Alabama Crimson Tide.
We'll get back to the press.
All right, hold on. Let me. All right.
Can that be harder than maybe it seems to totally shut out and lock in?
Well, yeah, I think anytime that your dreams are coming true, right? It's definitely hard, but at the same time, it really doesn't matter because what matters what happens is April 24th and 25th. Like whether it's controlling what you can control and being the best you can be. Like that's all that matters. So I'm sitting up here today making sure that I'm the best Ty Simpson, talking to the media that I can be. So no matter where I'm projected, no matter where I go, I know that they're going to get the best Ty Simpson they possibly can.
There's been a long list of quarterbacks that have been successful after just 1 year starting in college. When you were going through this process, why did you feel like now is the right time?
Yeah, first off, right, I feel like I'm ready. I'm a franchise quarterback. Like I said earlier, like the Alabama is, prepares you most for the NFL. With the infrastructure that they had and, the guys from Coach Saban, Coach DeBoer, Coach Grubb, all the coordinators that I had before, I run an NFL-type system. It's definitely prepared me for, saying those long play calls, saying those checks, making sure that, I get us in the right protection. And also as well, right, like, everybody talks about my starts, but I played in, other games besides that, and I played against, really good NFL players. I think about my freshman year, right, like learning from the #1 overall pick in Heisman Trophy winner. Going on defense, going on scout team, I got Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Henry To'oTo'o. I got Kool-Aid on one side. I got Terry on the other side. There's a number of, first and second round draft picks that, I went against and who I was in the locker room with. So, like I said, the Alabama locker room was as close as a locker room in the NFL as you can get.
You talked about playing or meeting with some of the AFC North teams. It's a cold weather, physical division. What has prepared you for playing in that kind of weather?
Yeah, so we didn't really play in a cold game at Alabama. There were some cold games, some windy games. I think, Oklahoma was pretty cold. Ole Miss a couple years ago was pretty cold. But in high school, I played in a bunch of cold games. And really, like, the cold is just an external factor. Like, I can't worry about that, right? Like, I got to have a hand warmer, got to make sure my hands are dry. Like, just because it's cold doesn't mean I can't throw the ball. Yeah, I met with the Cardinals. This is my first interview, and just super great organization. Mr. Monty is a great guy. Coach LaFleur is a Super Bowl guy. Coach Hackett, all those guys are they love football. They're a quarterback driven organization because they're very familiar with the quarterback position. And I would love to be a Cardinal. I think that they're a great organization. I have met with the Jets. Just talking ball, getting to know each other. Coach Wright is a great human being. Coach Glidd is a super juiceful guy. Installing some stuff and getting to know each other and just getting on the board is what I like. So I really love the Jets. Really blessed to be able to have a meeting with them. And if I have an opportunity to play in New York, that like I said, they're going to get the best tie tips they can get.
How would you say your dad, college coach, helped you develop from high school to college in certain situations?
Yeah, it certainly has helped, right? Like, I'd like to say that, he's helped me in a lot, in almost every situation. But in all reality, right, like I had to help, myself in some aspects, right? Like, losing the job, my first go around with Jalen, falling on my face at USF game, right? Like those are hard lessons that I had to learn and, things that I had to deal with, on my own. My dad wasn't in the building. My dad, wasn't there. I talked to him and asked him for guidance, and he gave me his 2 cents, right? But it was all on me. So everything that I had that I dealt with in my career, it was all based off of what I did and based off how I reacted, and that's life in general. But him being there, like I said, spiritually and football wise, is everything that I could ask for. And it's helped me actually look different aspects in football.
Really good stuff from Ty. We'll take a quick timeout because we got to stay on schedule. When we come back, we can finish that interview at some point. But I know we got some folks lined up on the phone line, so we'll take some calls. 205-342-9904. We got Pat, we got Sonny, others lining up. We'll get to you guys, then we'll continue with our interview listening to the interview from Ty Simpson here in a moment. Plus, a couple other things we'll dive into hour number 2 coming up right here on the Miller's Edge. Ty 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
The Tuscaloosa Thread News Update is brought to you.
I did not, QD. I didn't hear the Kane Womack. I saw a little snippet. I haven't seen the video. What did he say in the interview? What did he say that caught your attention? I know he mentioned like going to the weight room, seeing those guys, something like that, and that they're starting to look like an Alabama defense. I think that was what he said. Jets don't draft Ty. Yeah. Organizationally, yeah, probably I'm trying to think of who they have. I remember at one point a couple years ago, I mean, they had some good young talent. Yeah, I hope Ty has a good day tomorrow too. I think he will. I think he should look good. I mean, I remember last year it was when I think he threw at Pro Day for the receivers, and he looked really good at Pro Day. Excuse me. Golly, man. Christian, do you think our running backs are going to eat this year? I don't know, man. I mean, what's your definition of eat? Like, I don't know if I see a 1,000-yard rusher on our team right now, but I think they'll be better. I don't see how the running backs aren't better. I mean, you got the same group minus Jam, who was banged up, missed a number of games, and I would like to believe with the extra experience, the extra reps. I mean, it's back to being wide open again. I mean, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, those guys played some meaningful snaps last season. They should be able to build off of that, have a better idea on kind of what's expected or what to expect. Bring in some young talent. Crowell, he's going to push those guys. I think he's going to push those guys to be better, but also he adds something to that room that's not quite there. Kind of your all around true. Well, I guess we'd have to see him in pass pro to say true 3-down back, but I mean, the way he runs, as physical as he is, agile, making guys miss, explosive. Now, I would imagine that, you teach him the technique for pass pro, he should be decent at it. You know what I mean? He seems like a pretty physical guy the way he runs. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can say we're going to eat at running back, but I think they should hopefully be a little bit better. But I mean, a lot of that also is going to be relying on the offensive line, the guys in front of them. So that's the thing I'm focused on the most. I don't think we have any elite backs right now. I think Crowell has an opportunity to be, or the potential to be, an elite back. See kind of how AK Deer develops, but I think the rest of those guys are good backs. But when we talk about elite, I think we start throwing around those words a little bit too loosely nowadays. Like when I see guys like Jeremiah Love and Ahmad Hardy and players like that, you know what I mean? Like, there's not many elite guys. So when I say I don't think we have any elite backs, it's not necessarily like a shot at them or anything disrespectful. It's just being honest, just like linebacker, right? Like those guys we just watched at the combine, those Ohio State guys, those are elite linebackers. Do we have anything like that on our roster right now? Hell no, not even close. But do we have good players that can, be serviceable and do what you need them to do and help make some plays? Yeah, I think we do. But it's just interesting. Just like hearing Ty say that, like, played some better teams, better schemes. It's just kind of interesting to me. I'm not going to lie to you, hearing that. Like from an Alabama quarterback, it's just different, like, we know teams are going to be better, but not necessarily better than us, but they're going to have, there's going to be a lot more, balance in college football. But hearing like, better scheme, that I got to get used to that. That is a little bit interesting. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's talk to you guys, man. We haven't talked to you guys in a while. You guys been sleepwalking a little bit this week. Now you guys woke up. 205-342-9904. We got Pat up first. Pat, welcome in.
Good morning, Christian.
What's up, Pat?
Hello. Christian, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear. What's up, Pat?
Okay. Hey, we just got through whipping Brookwood and soccer. Hillcrest did, and that Hillcrest was up 2-1 in the first half, and they came back and beat them 4-3. And so win's a win. There's a big tournament going on down in Hillcrest this weekend. Anybody wants to see some good soccer? And Brookwood had one of the top players in the state. He plays for one of the big teams out of Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good team that we just played and was able to get a win. But how you doing today?
Man, I can't complain.
Is Ty play tomorrow?
Yeah, I think quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are due to throw tomorrow. Yes, sir. I don't know what time they start, but they'll be on the field tomorrow.
Good deal. And I'm happy to hear him say that he's 100%. So he'll make. I believe. I know he will shine tomorrow in this situation. That he'll definitely shine. But he ain't got to go to the line and change everything up, like he's had to do that second half of the season. That I got confidence that he's going to absolutely shine. And how do you say, be a T-shirt All-American? But make all the NFL throws. That I think he'll make the throws to the sideline. all the different ones that they require, and that he'll show that he can throw the deep ball too. Because if he's healthy, that I think he's going to be able to do it. What about you?
Yeah, I think he's going to perform well tomorrow. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just go out there, be composed. I mean, I just know from experience it can be a little nerve wracking a little bit just because under the lights and it's so quick pace and people are just kind of like go 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 and he's going to have different receivers, but they've been training for this. I mean, every day he's been throwing with his coach and working. So yeah, I think he's going to do well, and I think like you mentioned the deep ball, people are going to be paying attention to that. I think if he can connect on some of those and make some nice shots downfield, that might kind of ease some of those question marks a little bit. Even though this is a combine, I know it doesn't mean that much, but just seeing those can kind of just, I don't know, make somebody say, okay, all right, well, he can do it. He didn't connect as much as we probably would have hoped last season, but we can at least see that he does have the arm strength to connect like that.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think about, you're a defensive guy, what do you think about the offensive line at the Browns? I'm trying to figure out where, I mean, he's going to go where he goes, but still, if you had a choice, you don't want him going somewhere where they got a weak offensive line, and I'd like to see him go somewhere that he can sit for a year or two to be able to develop.
The Browns' offensive line is god awful, and they couldn't protect Shador, couldn't protect Dylan Gabriel. I mean, whoever they had back there, it didn't matter. I mean, the Browns' offensive line is just not very good. So yeah, I mean that's a big deal. At the end of the day, you can't pick where you go, unfortunately, but hopefully he does go to a situation where they do have a decent line, because that, I mean, for a young quarterback, especially while they're trying to transition to the next level, that's one of the most important factors. I would argue that's probably a little bit more important than having better skill guys. I mean, you want both, but if you had to choose, I'd probably say a better offensive line early on to be more important. So hopefully he ends up in a good spot. But I mean, the names that are being connected with him seem to be, pretty solid for the most part. I know you hear the Jets or maybe the Browns, even the Steelers, which I initially thought would be a decent move. But after seeing the reports from the NFLPA, man, I guess the organization isn't the same as it was years ago.
Did you see where that Pittsburgh was voted the worst team or worst organization?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it's interesting because for me, I know like a few years ago, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I mean, I feel like it was a little bit different. I know like Cam Hayward, he's, the same agency as me. And so my agent is really close with that organization, that front office, and he's always had nothing but high praise for it. But I don't know if it's been a little bit different in recent years. But yeah, I was kind of shocked by seeing that.
Yeah, I was too. See, I would have thought that the Jets would have got that moniker. But not the Ring family.
Yeah, I know. It threw me off a little bit, man. It's interesting, but
yeah,
the NFL is kind of hit or miss. Organizationally, I mean, it's a number of things. Sometimes it's more predicated by the front office people that are in charge, that are running things. Sometimes it's just a lack of investing in the resources for the players. And there's some organizations that are like, top notch in every category imaginable. So, it's funny because college nowadays, you almost have a better chance of having better resources from the weight room, the training room, training staff than you do with some of the NFL clubs, which is kind of hard to believe, but it's true.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, I appreciate the time, my buddy. And prayers for Ty Simpson. Have a great day. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate you calling, man. Good to hear from you. All right, we got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we keep on rolling. We got more phone calls to get to. We'll hear a little bit more from Ty Simpson. Plus, an interesting take came out from one of the top NFL analysts, Reed. I'm sure you probably have heard this, but if you guys haven't, there's some speculation that Ty Simpson could not just be quarterback 2, but maybe quarterback 1 in some people's eyes. We'll talk about that and listen to it on the other side, right here on the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your...
Why would elite running backs come to Alabama, Christian, when we're a pass-only offense? That's not a bad question. But I'll say this: I don't think we're a pass-only offense, but I do agree. This new offensive system that we do have. I mean, you are looking at a 40-plus, pass attempt type team. Not every game, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, you're definitely up there at the minimum high third. I mean, what was the average? Let me ask AI real quick since we use AI for everything. But I get what you're saying. Pass happy team. Would that deter some, top running backs from wanting to come here? My answer would be not necessarily. It could if it's a trend that continues, but I think right now, I mean, because if you go back to a couple years ago when Jalen Milroe was here, rushing numbers were a lot different, a lot better. Granted, he was probably 60% of those statistics, which is fair. Let's take this off. But I will say that I feel like part of it this past year was, I mean, I know we got away from the running game, but I almost wonder, was it we just couldn't run the ball well, and that was maybe contributing to why they didn't want to run the ball as much. I think, to answer your question, if you have another year this year where the running game is kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it like non-existent, but a non-factor like it was this past year, then I definitely think that could probably hurt a little bit in terms of recruiting some backs. But I think right now the pitch is, for a lot of these guys, hey, we're committing on running the football better. You can be that guy. I'm thinking about what people would have been saying, like when I was getting recruited. I know how these coaches talk. I can imagine them kind of taking and spinning it like, we desperately need help in that running back room. You're a guy that can help change that with your dynamic, with your abilities, with your skills. So I feel like that's probably one of the approaches right now. I mean, they did have a 1,000-yard rusher at Washington, so they run the ball. It's definitely a lot different than some of these other teams, but Milroe fell into Boris' lap. Otherwise, it would have been the exact same. Well, yeah, and it's just fun. I think people finally understand like why Milroe was such a factor that year. He helped mask a lot of the inconsistencies and issues that we did have, which, I mean, we've been saying on this show for forever. People just didn't really realize it until I think after this past season, it was a little bit more clear. But yeah, but at the end of the day, man, you got to, I will say, man, credit Nick Sheridan and those guys for understanding the roster that they had, the personnel that they had, and utilizing it in a way that maximized not only, his skill set, but what was best for the team. And that was ultimately, Jalen Milroe's skill set. And I think we averaged like 180 yards per game rushing, which, I mean, those are great numbers, damn good numbers. But you're right, that, that masked a lot of the traditional run game issues that we did have, 100%, which, to be fair, we're also here a little bit the year before they got here as well. Should try to find one or two backs instead of rotating 3 a game. Well, you can't just have one. I will say that you can't have one. You got to have some fresh legs. A tandem. I mean, you always like a good tandem. I'm with you there. 3. I'm not even mad at 3. The third one's normally kind of just like a situational or just a very, you know what I mean? Like he might get 12 snaps or so. That's not carries. I'm saying maybe snaps, 12 total snaps. But it just depends on, your personnel and who can actually contribute. If you don't have 3 guys that can contribute, you're not going to play 3 guys for sure. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's keep rolling on the phone lines. We will continue with some of these interviews coming out of the Combine again. Just to recap, yesterday you had defensive line and linebackers participating in all the field drills. Shout out to our guys that went out there and did their things. I thought really all of them performed well. Justin Jefferson had some really nice numbers in terms of 40, vert, broad, all that. He was very impressive. I thought Deontay Lawson did a nice job on his, field portion of things. Tim Keenan all around, I thought looked really good in my opinion. And I think LT Overton did solid as well. I mean, I think everybody, I mean, did we have somebody, like those Ohio State linebackers that completely just like blew everybody away? No, not necessarily. But I think everybody went out there and did probably about what was expected. And hey, the good news is if you weren't happy with what you did, you always can come back and do it again at Pro Day, which I don't have a date on that, but it's probably not too far out. But I do know, Reed, we do have spring ball coming up, which is good, which also means we were supposed to get Coach DeBoer on here before they kick spring ball off. So that should be coming up soon. I'll keep you guys updated on all those details. In the meantime, we will have Landon Tengwell on Monday to break down this offensive line unit and really deep dive into it, break down some film, which you guys love. So be ready for that. Top of the hour on Monday. 205-342-9904. Let's go back to the phone lines. We got Sonny up next. Sonny, welcome in.
How you going? How's it going?
What's up, Sonny? Everything's good, man. How's everything your way?
Good, good. I just want to ask you about 3 guys who were freshmen last year and 2 incoming freshmen. Get your thoughts on them.
Sure.
First one is Keelan Russell. What do you think his upside is?
Oh, man, through the roof. I think he's a very special player. I was watching some of the games from last year of our defense with, some young players. So basically the games like Eastern Illinois, the Louisiana game where guys got to, get some reps that don't typically play. And just seeing him again, man, the way the ball just, comes off his hand so smooth. I mean, quick release, it's just snappy. And then going off of what I've seen from him in practice, man, he's a very special player. I mean, his ability to improvise, throwing on the run, being able to just keep his eyes downfield, find things that, just you didn't even really see. He's really impressive. So to answer your question, I think his potential's through the roof. I think between all the quarterbacks right now, without a doubt, he's got the most potential. And I think if you really want this team to go as far as it can, I think he needs to be the guy. I just think it's a matter of can his potential catch up to the experience advantage that a guy like Austin Mack has? I think that's going to be the biggest question going into this upcoming season. But potential-wise, man, no, I think he's going to be the next really talented quarterback to come through here because he kind of has that it factor to him. Something's just a little bit different about him. Austin Mack is a good player as well, don't get me wrong. But something about Keelan, there's just certain guys that have that factor to him, and he's one of them.
Don't you think he's the guy that fans want to see win the job?
I'm sorry, you broke up. Repeat that one more time.
Don't you think Keelan is the guy that fans want to see win the job?
I think it's a little bit mixed, man. I've seen both. I've seen a lot of fans really excited about Keelan Russell just based off of what they saw when he came in to some games this past season, knowing the recruit that he was coming out of high school. People are excited about him for sure, but there's a lot of people that definitely want to see Austin Mack get his opportunity. And I understand. You're talking about a guy that's 6'6", 240 pounds or so. Had some really nice plays when he came in for an injured Ty Simpson against Indiana. Kind of, died down a little bit, as he started getting in the next couple series or so. But that said, he's also a good quarterback, a really good player. And there's a reason the staff is so high on him. And I think there's a lot of fans that are high on him as well. And listen, I think everybody just sees a little bit different. I just think if you're talking about a guy who has the highest ceiling and that is going to be the better player down the road, it's going to be Keelan Russell. It's just who's going to be the most ready right now. And that's really the more important question because what you're doing right now is the most important, right? But yeah, I think a lot of fans are excited about Keelan Russell. It's just they got to see that it factor when he came in those games last season. And so I think that's what they're hoping to see this upcoming year.
You look at Bama's team and the potential starters, they look great in 2027.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, and I've been saying that. I've always just tried to just, we're honest on this show. I always do it in a respectful way, even when I do have to just be blunt and just say, hey, this is a genuine concern. But now to answer your question, there's a lot of question marks for this upcoming season. You only have 3 or so guys returning starters on offense. You go to the portal. I think there's definitely some good potential with the guys we brought in, but not many sure plug and play guys that you just feel extremely confident can come in there and be even better at what you got last year. I think that's just, it is what it is. And so I agree with you. I think this upcoming season, there's definitely a lot of potential to it, but I think there's also the potential that it could be a little bit of, I don't want to say necessarily a step back, but when you have a really young team, a lot of new faces, it's hard to sit there and predict that, hey, everything's just going to be perfect and you're going to be even better. That's hard for me to do if I'm just being completely transparent. But when you look at the following year and all the recruits that we've brought in, you see the ability to retain most of these guys. Say that happens again next offseason. I feel like 2027, you could have a guy in Keelan Russell who's a third-year player, a lot of other guys that came in with him. The Michael Carrolls, you look at, DJ Lee, cornerback, London Simmons, and I'm sure, there'll be other guys stepping up that we're not really talking about right now. And you think 27 probably could be a little bit more, a little bit more confidence going into that offseason than it might feel right now going into 2026. I do agree with that.
Do you think Patrick Surtain is a second pass and Dijon Lee?
You said, do I think Patrick Surtain is what compared to Dijon?
You think they're comparable at the same stage of their career?
I mean, there's probably some characteristics or qualities that I could see where you would get that from. I mean, I don't think they're like super comparable, but if you're talking about young lengthy cornerbacks that are just very solid players from a technique standpoint, I was about to say that's the biggest thing. DJ Lee, I mean, he technically speaking, he's pretty good, especially for a young guy. But Pat is like on a different level. Like Pat is probably one of the, especially now, probably the most technically sound corners I think I've ever seen. And then he's got good length. He's like 6'2" or so. Really fluid for a tall guy. I mean, Pat really can do it all. DJ is similar, a little bit taller, a little bit more length. Maybe not as fluid or as technical as Pat is or was at that age, but I think he can get even better. DJ is very physical. I like that about him. I think he's probably a little bit more physical than Pat was. So there's some similarities, some differences, but no, I mean, I think DJ is going to be the next really good young guy that we have at the cornerback position. I like him a lot, and I think he was a great pickup, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do in his second year.
I want to ask you about two incoming freshmen, E.J. Crowd, running back, and the safety from Maryland. What's his name? John Edwards. Like you told opinion on both of those.
Yeah, so I like Crowell a lot, man. I think he's got a lot of potential, similar to a guy like Ryan Williams. I mean, you see just how productive and how dominant he was in high school, being able to do it, reclassifying. He's supposed to be a senior this upcoming year. But just watching his tape, man, I mean, he runs hard, seems to have great vision, very explosive. The guy just, I mean, he's one of those backs that you look at and you're like, I mean, you'd have to just basically try to make this guy not be successful. It just feels like you just put him in there, let him get experience, let him get reps, and let him grow up, and he's going to end up being one of those guys. He just has all the qualities and tools that you look for out of a back. I think he can grow into being a three-down guy. I don't know too much about his pass pro. I mean, I've just seen kind of a lot of highlights, but the way he runs, I feel like he's a physical guy. I think if you teach him technique, he should be fine in that area. But I'm excited about him. I'll say the same thing like I said about Ryan Williams as a true freshman. I expect him to definitely get some opportunities. I don't know to what capacity he's going to be. Some people might just say, oh, he's going to be 1,000-yard rushers freshman year. I'm always hesitant by saying those things. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for him to compete and get as many carries as they feel like, are necessary, or how many he earns, right, once he gets on campus. But I'm really high on him, and I think he's going to be a really special player. Then Jaire Edwards, I really like him a lot. I think he's one of these players that you're looking for nowadays that's a bigger body DB that can play in the box if you need him to. He's got good length. I think he's around 6'2" or so. He's played some slot corner. He's a very physical guy, not afraid to put his head in there, but he holds his own in coverage, can play in space, and that type of player is becoming a hot commodity, not only in college but in the NFL. With so much nickel being played, having like a slot corner / nickel, what we call a husky, is really important because those guys have to do a little bit of everything. They got to be able to cover. They got to be able to cover slot guys. They got to be able to play in the box. They got to be physical enough to help and run support. And just watching his high school tape, he checks all of those boxes. So I think he's going to be a very special player that, like I said, is kind of hard to find because you need him to do a little bit of everything. And I think he has a really good chance of being able to probably play a little early, potentially, but also, I mean, you got Red Morgan at that Husky spot. So I think he'll compete a little bit there, but I could imagine him working in some, maybe rotating in, especially maybe dime packages, could earn a spot there. But both of those players you mentioned, I feel like those are safe picks to be guys that end up having some really good careers here in Tuscaloosa.
Last thing, I would give the boy and his staff an 8 as far as high school football recruiting. What would you say?
High school recruiting, yeah, I think it's hard to give them anything but. I mean, over the last couple of years, I mean, even just not even just looking at like the rankings, but I think just looking at the players that they have brought in and the guys that they've hit on. I mean, you look at Latia Brooks, who was a 3-star, London Simmons, another 3-star. He got offered by coming to camp here. Really nice job by that staff finding guys like that. And you look at Michael Carroll, DJ Lee, number of other young players. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but then even the guys in this class who we haven't really seen them just yet, but Cedarian Morgan, Jire Edwards, Crowell. I think they're doing a really good job, landing some players that can all come in here and compete, whether they're a 5-star, highly touted guy or under the radar guy that, comes off like a diamond in the rough. So yeah, I think recruiting wise, I think DeBoer and the staff, yeah, I mean, I'm not mad about giving them an A. I'm trying to think like the whole picture in case I'm missing something. I guess the only thing I would say is just trying to see kind of how the trench guys end up panning out, because those have been two areas of need, offensive line and defensive line, that we've got to hit on. And before he got here, Coach Saban was missing on both of those positions over the last several years. So if Coach DeBoer can find a way to hit on, you hit on Michael Carroll, London Simmons, but if you can consistently hit on trench guys, I would definitely bump his grade up even more, because that's been something that we've been lacking over the past few years. And I think that's going to only make this football team much better moving forward. And yeah, I definitely want to see how our trench guys pan out. That is something I'm paying attention to.
I love Coach Saban. I don't know what happened to his recruiting the last couple of years. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, listen to me. You land some, you miss some, but I think also too, man. I think as he kind of got older, I mean, you had more people around. I mean, you got more people kind of saying things and offering their insight. And I just think over time, maybe the evaluations weren't probably as good as they might have been. I know COVID threw some things off a little bit because you couldn't really go out and actively see these players. That could have played a role. So there's a number of things, but you're right. It was kind of interesting how you go from, and let alone, I think the parity also just changed. I mean, you now are competing with the Georgias, Ohio States, Oregons a lot more than you probably were years prior. But, it was very evident going from a roster littered of just trench depth with guys. I mean, first round offensive lineman year after year after year, first round defensive lineman year after year after year. Then the last few years of his career, not really seeing that same result. Definitely was a little head scratching, but I think there's probably a number of factors involved. But I think Alabama has to get back to finding those types of players and getting that type of play out of their trenches if they want to get back to being that physical, dominant football team that we're used to seeing, right? Because that's the biggest difference out of the last couple of Alabama football teams that we've seen and the ones, the years past, right? I think the lack of physicality and dominance in the trenches is what stands out to me the most. I agree with you on that.
The last thing I'm going to let you go, I mean, I think overall that team overachieved last year based on their talent. I mean, I know there's some games that you can improve running the ball. I'm just speaking overall talent-wise. I think they actually overachieved. But that's just my opinion. I
appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's funny. I heard somebody else say that, and on one hand, I do understand what you're saying when you mention that. On the other, though, the reason I don't believe that's the case is because, I know Caden Proctor was not perfect at left tackle, but the guy is still going to go on to be, potential first round pick, probably at the latest early second round pick. Parker Brailsford, one of the better centers in the country. Dewberry, I know he had a lot of SEC experience. I know he had the right side, some issues. Formby, was a little inconsistent, and then Michael Carroll being a young guy. But my thing is, I'm like, you had a number of players that on this roster were, while I agree with you, they weren't probably as elite as maybe some people initially thought going into the year. And I know my dad kind of gave some pushback on that, and people were a little frustrated at first, but now I think people are kind of starting to see what he was talking about. But I will say, I think you had enough pieces to be a solid team. You weren't necessarily elite at some categories, but when I turn on the tape, those games that we lost, I don't think it was because of the players that we had, from at least from a talent standpoint. Florida State for sure. I mean, Georgia, you beat them once the first time, so that's clearly not a talent issue. I think the bigger issue was not showing up, whether it was prepared, mentally being prepared. When I say prepared, I mean schematically, mentally not being there, not being physical enough, being complacent. Oh, damn. I guess I was going too long on the answer. Anyway, you get the point. That to me doesn't reflect the talent that we had. And that's why I tend to disagree about overachieving, because the games that we lost, that wasn't a talent issue. That was being out schemed, out physicaled, and basically the other teams looked like they wanted it more, man. And us just not, competing the way we needed to compete. But I do understand where that kind of comes from, but I just tend to get pushback on it. Good call from Sonny, though. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling. We got our guy Smitty up next. And we got Rag. We'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
The Tuscaloosa Thread News.
What separated Austin and Keelan last year at practice? Good question, man. So this is what it boils down to. So Keelan was, I would say, the youth, the inexperience. He's going to make plays where you're like, oh, damn. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean about having that factor. He's going to, and I watched him even like when he first got here. There's one play he had. He's facing pressure. He's like moving around the pocket. He starts to scramble. Then he's got a crosser working across the field. And he's like rolling the opposite way. The guys, so basically he was like rolling to his right, I think it was. And there's a crosser working to the left side of the field. And I just watched, he just flicks his like last second, while not crossing the line of scrimmage, just like flicks his wrist. Like it looked like something you was like Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, like those types of throws. I mean, he just flicks his wrist and the ball just, across his body, across the field. Well, working across the field, not like all the way across the field. But I remember seeing that. That was one of the like first spring practices, I think it was. But it just was like, damn, that was that was different. So he's he's just due for those. Austin Mack, he's a big guy, stands out a lot. He had more command, because he's got more experience. That's the thing. So like, just the easy way to put this is, you could tell Austin Mack's experience, having a better command of the offense. Earlier on in the year, he felt more inconsistent. He'd have one day where he seemed like he was, like potentially the best of the whole group, like including Ty, like all the guys. He'd have a practice like that. And then you'd have another day where, like, for example, like I remember he was looking good in a couple of the practices. We get to the scrimmage and then like he's, dirting some balls. The accuracy he sprayed some. It just was like kind of over the place a little bit. And then when Keelan Russell, he's definitely going to have, his fair share of misses. He's young, but I think it was just clear that he was a true freshman. It's clear that he didn't have the same grasp of the offense as a guy like Austin Mack. And he's going to be due for some turnovers. Like Keelan was due to throw a few picks in practice, which is completely normal. It wasn't because, he's just making dumb decisions. It's because, no, he's making young decisions, right? Defense is disguising. He feels pressure, might try to force something. Just things that you learn with experience. You could see that. So that's why when people were so quick to say, they need to play Keelan, Keelan was due to throw a few picks in practice. That just was part of it, which would be the result if you put him in the game, right? Just wasn't fully there. But that's why I'm saying with the ceiling, though, like as those things settle, right, with experience and reps, that dude is he's just got that factor. Like, when you see guys like, now I'm not comparing him to Bryce necessarily, but I'm saying when you see Bryce improvise and do things and make throws that make you go, wow, like that was impressive. Just like you saw him when he came in, what game was that? Was it the Eastern? I think it was the Louisiana game, but he's like rolling out. They're like a high red area, I think it was, something like that. I think they'll hit somebody in the right pylon, kind of scrambling out the pocket, something like that. Thank you for taking callers today. Thank you. Oh, dude. Well, we take callers every day, Julene. Sometimes they get pushed a little bit, but no, we've been slow. We've been opening up the phone lines all week. It's been a little slow on the phone lines. They're going to pick up, though. Spring ball is about to kick off, so they definitely pick up for sure. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Nice to talk with a lot of our listeners today, man. I know it's been a little slower on the phone lines this week, man. I get it, it's off-season time, but now we're loaded back on the phone lines. Always good to hear from you guys. 205-342-9904. We're about to get back to the phone lines, but first, let me remind you about our friends over at Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy. Make sure you guys check them out for really any need that you can think of, any representation or just guidance. They've got you covered, whether you're a high school, college, graduate student, you need academic or career planning or help with anything, mentoring, exam and test taking preparation, subject matter mastery, all those things. They got you. Personal statements, resumes, professional planning, they've got you. Legal representation, a big one. Students, faculty, and athletes as well, whether it's academic misconduct matters, First Amendment cases, NIL issues, criminal defense matters. We all know that stuff is important. Make sure you check them out. And most importantly, they represent with care, passion, and relentless advocacy. And like Adam said yesterday, who joins us on Thursdays, man, for really good pricing, because this stuff can be very expensive, but they will take care of you for a really, really, really good rate. I can guarantee you that. 201-317-5115 is their number. Lamparello-Law will be the website when it officially is live, so make sure you guys check them out. Again, that is Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy, the official representation of the Miller's Edge. So make sure you guys check them out. All right, 205-342-9904. We got Smitty up next. Smitty, welcome in.
How's it going, Christian?
Man, I can't complain, man. TGIF, brother. TGIF. Hey, and we got Elimination Chamber tomorrow, so it's been kind of trash lately, like the storylines, but who knows? Maybe they'll pull something out tomorrow that helps bring some excitement. I'm talking about WWE for anybody wondering, by the way.
Yeah, and we may get Oba versus Brock at WrestleMania. That's what I want.
Man, you think no, seriously, you think they do that already? I feel like they're not going to pull the trigger on that for like maybe another year. What do you think?
I hope so, because it might be LA Knight. So give me Oba. pull the trigger, man. Hey, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, one thing to listen about, like you guys talk the combine. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I think the Raiders should trade the number 1 pick. I know everybody loves Mendoza. I'm not saying he's terrible, but I don't see, forego rebuilding the rest of the team first. And I think they should, if someone wants to take them, take the picks, because if the surrounding parts of your team still are subpar, what good is that for your quarterback? Like you talked about offensive line. Bryce Young they talk about like Caleb Williams getting beaten up his first year. Bryce Young got the heck beaten out of him his first year and ruined his confidence. Yeah. And I just think that you need to get the trenches straight first before you worry about getting a quarterback. And we know how they do it in the NFL. The number 1 pick ain't sitting. He's going out there day one. And so that's something, because what people don't get is a lot of these teams, they don't have a plan for the quarterback. It's okay to draft it, but what's your development plan? And I think so someone like Mendoza going to the Raiders, they're years away from being competitive. What good is that having them there for? You need to rebuild that team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it really depends. I do worry about guys that go to those spots, because it can make or break a guy. Excuse me, I thought I was about to sneeze for a second. Excuse me, there it goes. I'm sorry. It can really make or break a guy's career, man. Especially, thank you, especially at the quarterback position. It's so important. It's vital to have a good organization. The good thing about Fernando Mendoza is I feel like he's got his head on straight. I think some guys, man, if you aren't prepared for that, for some of those hardships that you might endure your first year or two while they are rebuilding, sometimes it can completely ruin a guy's confidence and really mess him up. I feel like Fernando Mendoza, if he ends up in a situation like that, I feel like he'd probably handle it decent. But you're right, though. You got to have a whole bunch of other things around you. The good news is they got Ashton Genty, who should help their running game. Now, offensive line is really important, but I don't know. And Pete Carroll is still there, right? He ain't going nowhere.
They fired him.
Oh, I was about to say, okay, all right, then you're right, because they hired the Seahawks offensive coordinator, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I think
They
they
fired
hired,
him.
or is either the I think in
Yeah, it's
OC or the
Clint.
DC.
Yeah, Clint Kubiak.
Kubiak. Yeah, that's right. Dang, I need to catch back up on that, man. You're right. Yeah, they did hire him because he went there right after the Super Bowl. Hey, at least you got a new coach, man. Hopefully he can help him
He's the
out. Yeah,
time.
Kubiak. Yeah, we'll see. But in terms of at least for Ty though, man, like I know he said he's a franchise guy. He's ready to roll. I think he could do okay his first year, but I just feel like with the limited experience he had in college and then seeing some of the inconsistencies, I think it would be best for him to be in a spot where he could develop, even if it's just for a year. I know he's confident, so which he should have that confidence. But I just think it would be very helpful for him. I mean, don't you agree with that?
I say go to the Rams. He should hope and pray the Rams draft him because Stafford may go for another 2 years. And you with a good coach who has a good scheme, and he believes like the run game. He has a good scheme because remember this team was still in contention, despite not having a draft first round pick for 5 years. They traded them all. They supposed to rebuild. They still contended. So that's what I think. Because I'm going to tell you, I kind of got in a little Twitter debate with Andy Staples the other day because that article they put out. It actually was nice and calm. And it was like they were talking about like how Cam Coleman got that blank check, and I quoted him and said, "Bill Walsh always said the wide receiver is the last position group you fix because Texas couldn't run the ball or couldn't block either last year, right? But they won their bowl games. Everybody loves them and loves Arch Manning again. And he thought, well, they won. Well, they got Jerry Rice, and I was like, well, they won 2 Super Bowls before they got Jerry Rice, But like the Cincinnati Bengals, they paying 2 receivers top money, still can't block for the quarterback, and the quarterback getting his butt kicked. And I just think sometimes people get like, for instance, Jamar Chase is going to the Hall of Fame, but you still should have taken Penei Sewell because you don't have to worry about that for 15 years. You can find a receiver. Let's just be real here, who's comparable. But I just think like a lot of these
things. But I mean, Jamar Chase is. I mean, he's like that's a tough one. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But that one was a little tough, man. He's shoot.
Give me the left tackle. I'm sorry, cause
you're wrong. Honestly, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just for me when I'm like, man, you got to do that talented. It's hard. Even like Justin Jefferson, you just see how special they are. But then you're right. If you don't have the offensive line, if you don't have the quarterback like Minnesota that can consistently get them the ball, man. I mean, I still think Minnesota it was a bonehead decision to let go of Sam Darnold. But it is what it is.
Because with him, you know what he had at least, and the rookie could got some value out of because Darnold's not even old. He's still like late 20s. So it's not like Darnold's 35. You're like, all right, we got to give the young guy a shot. But it brings my last point. Like yesterday, y'all talked about those portal numbers. I asked that question to Adam. It was just fascinating how much those numbers jump in a year. Well, Miro was offered 2.5, Ty 6.5, and then Mensa reportedly 8 in a crib, and a sister getting a scholarship. And it brings me to thinking just maybe these teams who don't prioritize developing a high school quarterback, because to me that's kind of cost control because you're not desperate. They're smartly taking advantage of the desperation by Miami. Because Miami had to do that for Tide reportedly and Mensa because they're desperate. They had no in-house option. And we know everybody loves the portal. But you notice less and less stars are in the portal, but you can only take what the portal gives. There aren't that many starting caliber quarterbacks in the portal. You might be taking a chance on a retread, a guy who's okay, but he's getting big money because he played a couple of games, or a freshman like the Hussein Longstreet left USC to go to LSU. And I just think that sometimes these players at age are smartly taking advantage of desperation. Because I know Sam Levitt got big money. I watched him play. He won all that. The Sorsby kid, Texas Tech, and I'm like, I gamble on football as my little hobby of mine. So I watch a lot of these games on the quiet box. I did not see $6 million. I'm just being real. I can see 2. But you get what I'm saying. And it's that because all these rosters are in flux every offseason, maybe the Bama, the Georgia, even Ohio State's doing the whole, we develop our guys. If we lose some, we'll plug in holes. But cause to me, that's cost control because you don't have to go out there and spend $5-6 million. It may be $8 next year for a quarterback or 10, you know, and that you only got so much money to spend on your roster, and that could really mess things up. And I know people may be a little nervous, but the Alabama, the Georgia, Ohio State's doing the same thing. USC is starting to do it. That's the way to go because I think that you have some cost control there. Because if you have to go out there and spend every year like Lane Kiffin does, a lot of those guys are one-year guys, Christian. So you got to do this all over again, you know. And you got to take what they can put out.
I will. The only thing I will add to that is that they are supposed to be every year increasing the revenue share budget, which people are completely kind of disregarding that to an extent because people really are over that limit anyway. But what you're describing is just the market value. And there probably was a quarterback that was a little bit more than or offered a little bit more maybe than Jalen's 2.5. So say somebody else was, because I want to say there was rumors that somebody getting like close to 4, but you're right. I mean, 4 to 6.5 is still an increase. And that's just kind of how things work because when people are bidding and there's not proper structure, it leads to things just flying up. That's why in the NFL they have a salary cap. That way, it prohibits it from going up too much. But that's why, as the salary cap goes up, guys reset the market. I mean, it's mimicking that. Everything is somewhat mimicking the NFL right now, except for actual guidelines. Even the NFL, there's still guidelines with the salary cap, contracts. With college, it's like, all right, we're going to mimic the NFL from a number of standpoints, and then we're going to also just let guys, like Adam was saying, basically just have free reign and do whatever the hell they please, which is probably the biggest issue overall.
Yeah. And I say this before I run. Thanks for taking my call. What Adam described is like children eating ice cream for breakfast or being glad their parents are gone for the week. But by day 3, you miss your parents in the structure. We've all been there. But y'all talk about Keelan and Austin Mack. If it's close, you go with Keelan. Because with the experience Mack has in the system, this race should not be close, in my opinion. If it's close, you got to go with the young guy. That's because he has more room to grow. And with the one portal, because don't read into what happened last year when Mack was number 2. There was no reason to put Keelan number 2 because he's a true freshman. So we'll see what happens, but I like the fact they have true competition in a lot of these positions. You have a good weekend, Christian.
Yes, sir. You too, Smitty. Yeah, we'll talk plenty about this quarterback battle throughout a few weeks coming up with spring ball. I've saved it a little bit because I know it's going to be one of the biggest talking points, probably the biggest battle, arguably throughout the spring in terms of all schools. Really, I mean, the quarterback battle at least is one of the biggest ones. So we'll talk plenty about it. We got plenty of time to do it. But first, we got to hit this timeout. We come back, we keep on rolling. We got Ragged up next on the phone lines. Got a few more things we'll touch on this Free for All Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let me see. I'm trying to update this thumbnail real quick. Yeah, I think that quarterback battle, man, it's hopefully you guys are ready for that because that's going to be the talk of the next month or so, which will be entertaining. And of course, people are going to be making it seem like every day there's some new update. I'm gonna be straight up with you guys, even though we'll talk about it. There's not going to be a decision made on that until the fall. I mean, you guys have my word on that. There will be no decision made on a starter until the fall. So if we're just being completely transparent, like it'll be fun to talk about it. Oh, so-and-so, man, like there's word that he had a good day or a good scrimmage. That's all great for talking points. Hell, I'll even take part of it because, hey, we're a talk show. We'll talk about it. But at the end of the day, this spring really is not even going to matter. I mean, because one guy could have a great spring, might give him a little bit of an edge going into the summer, program and fall camp. But at the end of the day, fall camp is really what matters. I'm just being honest with you guys. I've had teammates. What spring was it? It was the spring of 2015, I think it was. one of my teammates went into spring as the number 1 quarterback on the depth chart. I mean, which there's no like official depth, even use depth charts. They just used what did he basically say? He basically said it was basically like a practice structure. It was a depth chart, which he just hated the word depth chart. Anyway, one of my teammates went into it as the number 1 quarterback, and literally like 2 weeks later, before we even finished spring, by the end of spring, he was the fourth quarterback. And I didn't even think he was playing like bad or nothing, but that's just how it worked out, man. So I don't know. I just prefacing you guys because you're gonna hear people put all these things out like, oh man, Austin Mack looks to be they're not gonna have a true decision. This is different. You know, last year Ty was the vet. You know, he already kind of had a leg up. He was the backup the past couple years. It's pretty much his job to lose. Right now, it's nobody's job to lose. This is the first time in several years, I guess, since, you know, Jalen and Ty really first competed after Bryce, but that is actually a true battle where, you know, somebody does, you know, the last couple of years, you had Ty he had a leg up. Jalen had a leg up, right? Returning starter. This is a true open battle, you know, which is exciting. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But I don't expect you getting any type of real, I guess, update, right, until fall camp. What happened with Blake? Man, Blake was a good player, man. I think he got a lot of flack. We've had him on the show too. I think he got overly criticized after that first game. It really wasn't that bad of a game, especially for a young quarterback. I think Jalen just kind of swooped in and kind of stole the show. He offered something a little bit different, and he just ended up playing out like that. Honestly, man, you know, Blake. I'm telling you guys, Blake really wasn't a bad quarterback, but it's part of it too when you have such high expectations. You know, like people, oh, he's the number 1 quarterback out of California. People just assume he's going to be the next, you know, Tom Brady because of that. And it's just not, it's not fair to these guys on one end and on the other. And it's just, you know, when you have so much talent and guys competing, that's, you know, it's part of it. And welcome back into this Free For All Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's keep on rolling here. We'll go right back to the phone lines. We'll keep on with it, man. We got a whole bunch of people lined up, so let's just keep running it. We got Ragged Glory up next. Ragged, welcome in.
You know what? Thank you, Christian, and thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, of course.
Before I get started, Miss Julene told me to tell you hello.
Oh, tell her I said hello. I appreciate you delivering that message, man. Good to hear from her.
You're welcome. She's going to hear it on the radio right now. Okay, I have a lot to agree with Smitty, and there's some things I disagree with, but that's okay. I'm not going to go down that road. I do want to discuss Ty Simpson. After hearing his words on your show, I was like, you know what? This guy is charged up. He wants to go. Mm-hmm. My greatest fear, and I know I'm old, but back in the day, I understand quarterback. I understand the entire game of football. It's like a chess game. Here's the issue I have with him being gung-ho, want to go out there and do something. My fear is he's going to get to a team that wants a paperclip without having, you know, everything ready for him. Mm-hmm. And Smitty said that, you know what, the Rams. Well, Rams aren't my team. I would give anything, and I'm going to pray and fast and everything I got to do. I would love to see him go to San Francisco. Wear the crimson, white, and gold. Because Shanahan could put him in, because Ty Simpson, based on how I know the quarterback position. He is somebody that could back up behind Purdy, even with Mac Jones being there. My goodness gracious. Give him a year? Who knows? He could be another franchise quarterback. In what Alabama is now implementing here as a West Coast offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Go ahead. He has studied the game of football for the entire time he's here. He has been through several different schemes. And you know what? I would draft him, but I hope he silently sneaks out of here because I would not want to see him thrown to the wolves on a team like the Jets or the Raiders or anybody right now.
Sure.
Burn him up? Nope.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, we talked about it, the quarterback position being so important, having the support necessary around you to really give you your best shot at having success in the National Football League. But no, I'm rooting for him. I think regardless of the situation he's in, I think he'll make the most of it. I mean, you mentioned a good point. He's had a lot of experience in different systems. He's had a number of different coordinators. He's, played behind some guys like Bryce Young, Jalen Milroe. I mean, he's learned a lot of football. His dad's a coach, and he's had to battle adversity. I mean, he's, like he mentioned, lost out to Jalen, got opportunity against USF, had to go back and compete, in another battle, won the job, had a good year, battled adversity through injuries. So I think regardless, man, he's a battle-tested guy that's learned how to navigate those waters. And I think regardless of where he ends up, he's going to, do good and have a good career. But ultimately, the biggest step is the next step, and that's tomorrow, and that's throwing and putting on a good performance. So we're definitely going to be rooting for him and watching and supporting him this weekend.
You bet. And you know what? Based on my tally, let's see, Alabama has produced 4 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that I know of. We've got one in the wings in Seattle, and I have a feeling that we've got the 6th one getting ready to go in. I hope I live long enough to see it.
You're saying you think Ty Simpson's going to be the next Alabama quarterback to win a Super Bowl?
No. I think Milroe's up there, and I think that Ty Simpson's going to be up there too. Mm-hmm. You know what? Roll Tide, roll. Let's pump them out, man.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide. Raggy, we appreciate you, man. Good to hear from you. I hope you have a great weekend.
You do the same.
Yes, sir. Take care. Good deal. We got to hit another timeout when we come back. We wrap things up. We got Ellis on here. We'll hear from Ellis, man. We're throwing it back today, Reed. We got a whole bunch of our OG callers calling in, man. Good to hear from everybody. We'll do that when we come back. Plus, looks like the Pastor Payne has popped in here real quick, so he'll join us for a few minutes as well when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable.
What up?
9149 for you.
Let me guess. You can't hear me?
Hey, you know a kid named Rodriguez?
Yeah, can you hear me? Wait, back out and join again real quick. I forgot what I did last time let me try. I'll do myself. Hold on, wait. Let me try.
And then I can only say to be done in this area.
All right, can you hear me? That didn't work either. All right, he'll rejoin. I mean, he's got to be more specific. I mean, do you know a kid Rodriguez? I mean, like, yeah, I know a few Rodriguez people with the last name Rodriguez.
He went to Spring Valley High School with you.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're talking about my friend Renee.
Yeah, that's the name, Renee. Yep.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Renee. Le quiero mandar un saludo a mi compa, mi carnal Rene. Yeah, he
I just saw him.
yeah, dude, he's man, he's killing it. Him and his brother own a construction company. I think it's called Midland Company. And I
Yep,
think they're
that's what he
getting
had on.
yeah, and I think they're getting into to crane work stuff too, man. They're crushing it. It's crazy. So I grew up with him, his brother Hugo, and then his cousin Omar was like one of my best friends, and we all played soccer together. So like we used to play soccer over at Polo Fields, and then we played on the same middle school team, and then in indoor league. So long story short, it's funny because they all work together now. Like they all own. I think Omar might do something else, but like they work together in some capacity. But it's cool. They all are same group, man. Same dudes I grew up with, playing soccer with, and going to school with. They all work together, and they're crushing it too. He's always been. He's solid, man. He used to be rocking my Panthers jersey and stuff. Where'd you run into him at?
Dick's Sporting Goods.
I'm gonna shoot him a message after this.
Yeah, he said, I told him to check out your podcast.
Yeah, he asked me because they do a podcast with their construction company. He asked me to
That's
come
what
on,
he
and
said.
I told him. Yeah, I told him.
He said he wants you to come on.
I told him, I was like, man, because he asked if I'm in Colombia. I was like, I haven't been to Colombia in a minute, but I was like, shoot, you send me a link, man. Shoot, I can do it in Spanish now too. Because you know what's funny? Speaking of Spanish, he used to try to teach me Spanish. Like when I used to be at their house, him specifically, he used to teach me a little bit here and there, like some words and stuff. And so as soon as
like some girly words.
I can't remember. It was like basic stuff because his parents they don't really speak English, but like his mom used to be cooking like tamales. I don't know if you've ever had that. It's like wrapped in like the corn thing. But yeah. Anyway, man, yeah, it brings back memories, bro. So his mom didn't speak any English, so I used to try to speak a little Spanish to her.
Well, you speak English.
Yeah, of course I speak English, but they speak English. But I'm saying, once I learned Spanish, I immediately messaged them like a year ago, and I was like, "Bro," I said, "Update for you, man. I speak Spanish now." So yeah. Anyway, that's my guy, man. Shout out to Renee. And welcome back into this Free For All Friday. This show, the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, we got a few short minutes left. I want to get Ellis on the phone line. It's been a while since we heard from our guy Ellis. We had the pastor paying for 2 seconds. It looked like he was eating his lunch, and he's back. So we'll see if he's got anything to offer up here on this Free For All Friday edition. Real quick, let me welcome Ellis in here, man. It's the first time Ellis has called in a minute, man. Ellis, welcome in.
Roll Tide there, Christian.
What's up, Ellis, man?
Roll Tide there, Ellis.
Roll Tide there. How y'all gentlemen doing?
Man, doing well, man. Blessed, man. Good to hear your voice, man. How's everything been, Ellis?
I just had a lot going on with family and everything. I got a brother that's bad off. He's got Parkinson's. And he's got problems. He's one of the Marines that was on that base that had that contaminated water. So I don't know if y'all ever heard about that. He had to deal with that. So,
man, praying for both of you guys, man. Like I said, it's definitely good to hear your voice, man. I was wondering if you still were tuning in every now and then because I saw you in the chat and I was like, man, that's my guy Ellis. I hadn't heard him call in.
Yeah,
so making sure everything was good on your end.
I listen,
Oh yeah.
Got to listen. Got to keep up with the sports. We got a new season, new players, different quarterback. It's going to be different. And then crazy Alabama fans are going to have to realize, it.
That's right.
The crazy Alabama fans that think we're going to go undefeated and all that, that's, I'm thinking last year, what was it in regular season? 10-2. That's what I predicted. I'm going to predict 9-3 this year.
Fair enough. You got any? Is there 3 games?
Whoa, they're gonna crush you, buddy.
Yeah,
No,
I know, but
no, wait, no. It's honestly interesting enough, man. Maybe it's just our show or our listeners, but I feel like a lot of people from our chat or people that have called in, I think a lot of people have. I don't think I've heard higher than 10-2. If anything, I think a lot of people are kind of in that range on their current outlook, which I don't know. I think people are just kind of starting to realize, man, there's a lot of parity in college football. We got a lot of new faces, a lot of youth. It's tough, man. I mean, cranking out 11 wins in the season is
I mean, what
very
makes them
tough.
think they're going to get 10 wins? I mean, based on what they lost, new quarterback, a revamped offensive line. I mean, a tough schedule. I mean, there's no guarantee 10 wins might be like that might be coach of the year for Kalen DeBoer.
Well, this is what I would say. I think at the end of the day, a lot of these games are probably going to come down to like one possession type games. And if you look at it in the past, things have typically fell our way, right? I mean, we've had a lot of, kind of close one possession type games, which is expected in the SEC, no matter really the record of that opponent. Just you expect those types of ball games. I would argue that, if the ball lands in your court like it has in the past, and you find a way to listen, we're going to have some deficiencies. I think that's inevitable with, the way our roster is built right now and with some of the youth. I mean, there's going to be some things. Can you mitigate some of those deficiencies, right? And how good can you do it? Can one of these young quarterbacks, like Keelan Russell, I was talking about him earlier, him having that it factor, how quick could a guy like him get up to speed? Or could Austin Mack really, step up and be a difference maker, right? I mean, kind of like when you looked at like Jalen Milroe, we had deficiencies 2 years ago in Coach DeBoer's first year, but with his athleticism, it helped mask some things. And it, in my opinion, you know what I mean? I think you could work around your roster and kind of come up with stuff, but I think that's all in the coaches. So at the end of the day, from a roster standpoint, when you stack our roster up with some of these other schools and these other top programs, I think, we definitely have good players. We're just a lot more, I guess, youthful than some of those other teams, and we might not have the same elite players in some of these categories. Example, looking at Ohio State's linebackers at the combine yesterday. I mean, to have 2 6'4" and 6'5", 240+ backers that are 4.4 guys is absolutely insane. We don't have that, but I think you can try to get as much out of these players, and I think 10-2 is possible. I just think it's going to require us playing probably some of our best ball.
Oh my God, yeah. But 9-3 is what I'm thinking, And you're talking about Jalen Milroe. If we didn't have him, the last year he was, our record would have been awful. It'd been worse than 9-3. But his ability to run the ball saved it, in my book. Kept us from having a real bad season.
Yeah, he helped mask a lot of those issues that we had running the football for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, no one knows. I mean, hell, we could fool around and pump out an undefeated season. You never know. I've seen crazier things happen. but I always respect the realness from you, Ellis. We always respect you for that.
Well, I try to. I'm headed to Nashville tomorrow night.
Honky tonk time, baby. Get them cowboy boots and that hat up.
Hit the honky tonk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I already knew it. I knew it. You been in those caves recently, Ellis?
No, I'm waiting for it to warm up. It's been too cold. But my plans is to go in that one a little bit further than I did before. And I'm waiting on you to come up where you can go with me.
Man, I told you, I don't like tight spaces like that, Ellis. So them caves, man, that ain't my cup of tea, brother. Now, I'll go on.
What are you looking for in caves?
You can get it in a boat and float like so far up in there.
Yeah, see.
Nah, brother.
Cave, yeah.
Nah.
I told you, Ellis, again. Brother, we can go on
a
nature walk, the waterfalls, and take pictures of all that stuff, brother. But when you talking about caves, that's where you... You lose me on that.
Hey, Ellis, you let the caveman do all that stuff. We're not cavemen. Let them have that.
They call him Caveman Ellis for a reason, man. Ellis, man, it's so good to hear your voice, man. I'm glad everything's going well. I hope everything is, praying for you and your brother, man. I know it's a little tough.
Yes, sir.
Definitely excited to talk a little bit more with you in the next few weeks with spring ball coming up, man.
Yes, sir. I'm waiting on that, and I'll be calling back.
Sounds good,
All right,
brother. You
Els,
have a
we're
great
praying for you,
weekend,
brother,
Ellis.
and your brother, man.
Thank you, sir. Roll Tide.
Roll
Yes,
Tide.
sir. Roll Tide. All right, we got to get out of here. I'm going to stay behind real quick, chop it up with the Pastor of Pain, so if you guys want to hang out on the stream. But real quick, let me remind you about our friends at R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street. If you're looking for a place to go watch any of the sporting events this weekend or the Combine, check them out. Big White Mansion on the corner. Can't miss it. And use that code Miller's Edge on their website, rnrcigars.com, for 20% off. Best humidor in the Southeast. Over 160 bourbons for you to try or drink or sip on. Just drink responsibly. But again, there is not a better place around here to go kick back, relax, enjoy a nice stick and a nice drink at the mansion of R&R Cigars. Again, that's R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. That'll do it for us on this Free For All Friday. We'll be back Monday. Landon Tangwell will be joining us, breaking down, deep dive, film breakdown like you guys love into the offensive line. We'll do that at the top of the hour Monday and keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Got a question for you. Do you know what is Fulton?
Appreciate it, Reed.
Sorry.
Where are you at? I don't recognize that background. How fast do you guys think Damani will run in this 40? I think he could be a 4.3 guy. It's tough to say, man.
He can run a
Starters
4.2 and he still can't cover.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Listen,
He is. I mean,
no,
I'm just going based on what I watched. He struggles.
I hear you. I hear you. No, he struggled this past season. I'm not denying that, but he was one of their best cover corners that they had.
Which ain't saying much. If he's one of your best and the way he struggled.
No. I'm saying like going into the year, like if you watched him covering guys like Ryan, Jeremy, Horton, I'm saying going into the year, it was known that he was one of the best cover corners. I'm not the season did not go in his favor. We can agree on that. I'm just telling you, athletically speaking, he should test extremely well. I would not be shocked if he's a 4.3 guy.
I mean, yeah, but that's straight ahead. I mean, playing cornerback is a lot more deep or deeper or more intense than just straight ahead. You got to be able to change direction, be able to plant that back foot driving on the football. It's all about hips, spinning. That's what have you doing those drills. I mean, so I'm just saying I think he has a lot of talent, upside if he gets the right coaching potentially. But, I mean, he had one game where I really looked at him and said, man, I understand why they went out and got him. He was a former 5-star athlete. And he finally, I think one game, and I can't remember the game, but that he looked like, you know what, this dude, he's a traveling corner, which means that he can go anywhere. He can take the best receiver and travel. That's what that means. And he looked like that for one game. So why we couldn't see that more often, more consistently? That would be my question. I mean, it was the system, is it him? So I mean, there was games where he drove me bonkers because of his unwillingness to tackle, to come off the block. I mean, it was lackadaisical, like he didn't even care. I mean, just go watch the tape. I mean, these are things that I saw. And I know NFL scouts are going to look at it and say that they see what I see. So he can run a 4.2, but explain to me, why you struggled in covers against this type of player. Explain to me why you refuse to stick your hat in there and make tackles. Why you refuse to, hustle on this play. I mean, those are things I think he's going to have to answer because they're going to go by what they see on the film.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm in agreement with everything you're saying. I wasn't saying like last year during the season. What I was saying like from if you go back to the spring and really building off, because if you watched him 2 years ago, he's a good player, and I think they had a lot of high expectations for him. But he did. I know Fromm asked about injuries. He battled a number of injuries, and then he also was battling, some confidence issues. It's just a fact, and you know as good as I do, as a cornerback, confidence is almost is probably one of the biggest factors and things that you have to have. I mean, you're playing on an island, and when you lose that at corner or quarterback, both, really, you're in a lot of trouble. So, and and I'm not going to go too into detail, but I think there also are some things. I mean, he just maybe not being aligned completely with coaching or coaches maybe, or a coach, but regardless, there's no excuses. He struggled this past year. I mean, he'd be the first one to tell you that. But what I think could end up happening for him, I think he could be a Josh Jobe like player who just was starting with Seattle and won a Super Bowl. Josh Jobe went undrafted. Great athlete, very physical guy. I'm not saying Damani is. They're different in that aspect, but I'm just saying Josh had a lot of good qualities. Josh had way too many PIs because how physical he was. People used to get on him a lot, but he was a really good athlete, very physical dude. He could play football. Ended up going undrafted, worked his way onto a practice squad with somebody. I think it was the Eagles his first year or two. Landed in Seattle, ends up being, a starter at corner, wins a Super Bowl. Now he's, free agent, about to probably get himself a second contract. I think if Damani could, put everything together, kind of get back on track, he could be a guy like that, whether he's a late round pick, maybe undrafted, based off what you said. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's some bad tape he put out there this past season. There's no denying that. But I think with the athlete that he is, with the potential that he has, if he can kind of get back in his groove, I think there's a chance that he can make something out of it. But we'll have to see.
I think some of the young guys are just waiting on that. I mean, an opportunity to get to the league. They're tired of college, they're trying to whatever. And then they get there and then they figure out, hey, you know what? This is pretty cool. I can play. And then they start to, like you're talking about with Joe. I mean, listen, the guy got talent. He can run. He got measurables as a cornerback. I'm sure, I'm that stuff he can impress with. But still, in today's game, they're going to ask him, about the inconsistency and the heart. I mean, because let's think about it. Alabama's issue a lot of times, especially on defense, was, and you heard Denzel and other guys talk about it, they were heart issues. They were like lack of effort, lack of toughness. It wasn't about talent. It was about why is it the coaches that's not able to draw that out of them, or is it their own personal character? Right? They got money and NIL and they just not putting it in, which to me, I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's more about the player and getting money. I think it's more about the player not having that desire, not having that, mindset of trying to chase the bag, so to speak, anymore, because they got the bag. And I think that allows, us to see bad film.
Yeah.
Now they might get out of college and go, you know what? I get, fifth round, sixth round, free agents, whatever, and they go out there and something clicks. They give it the right team. They got the right coach that knows how to motivate, that knows how to encourage, that knows how to get guys to dump up maximum effort. And we know that there's guys like that in the National Football League. Then that player turns around and becomes a great player. I mean, there's many players that have left college and turned into all pros, and left college not being a good football player, just been average, and they get there and you go, wow, what happened? What happened to that guy? Sometimes it's just the people that are speaking into that guy's life. It's just the people that are able to understand how to motivate the athlete, understand how to get the maximum out of athletes, and it's the right system that player can, excel. So it just depends.
Yeah. Well, Ken down in the chat says that he was top 5 of all time in California in the 100. So I think that's where a lot of these expectations come from with this 40. So,
and so was Ronaldo Nehemiah. You remember that name?
Nope.
He was a track guy. They ended up playing in that as a wide receiver, played for the 49ers, fast. And, he got a shot for a little bit, but he never turned into nothing. mean, you can be a top 5 track guy and be a 0-5 football guy, so football is not track. Yeah, I mean, so that's why I'm not, and I've been busy all week, but the combine, that's why the combine to me becomes a joke.
Well, that's why I was hoping you can get on here and talk.
Yeah,
about it.
but I mean,
do it
now.
Monday. Do it Monday because I mean, you got I don't know what kind of Wi-Fi you got over at that shop. There it goes. Yeah, just do it Monday.
Hello.
I mean, you can do it. You can do it now too. But I meant like we'll get you back. Come on Monday. At the top of the hour, we got this guy named Landon. He played at Penn State. He's like a college football analyst. He's got a show that he does. But okay, we'll probably see him in about 2 seconds, or if not, we'll see him Monday. But anyway, there it is.
I'll save it to Monday though. But when is the combine?
It's going on right now. Are you talking about for today? So yesterday you had defensive line and linebackers. Today you got DBs and tight ends. They'll probably kick things off. Yesterday it started at 2. So I'm assuming probably coming up here shortly. Then tomorrow you got quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs, and then offensive line on Sunday. But I'm trying to figure out if this was accurate or not. Somebody tweeted that Caden Proctor went into the season at 390 pounds. I got to ask somebody about that. I got to confirm. I'm gonna ask Bree, the nutritionist. I'm gonna be like, Bree, you better not let that damn boy show up at 390 pounds.
Well, he's about 330 now. That's all that matters, right?
Wait, is that what you? Wait,
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No, hell no. I don't think he'll ever be a 330 guy. He's just too big bone, man. I think he'll end up being like 350.
Too big.
I can't. That's just. I don't see him getting smaller than that though. Which is a shame because I feel like if he played at, listen, I don't think he needs to be lighter than 330. His friend, he's 6'7". 330 for him would be too small. Like that, I don't know. But I think if he was like 330 to me is like a probably the best. Like anything lighter than 330, I think he's risking losing some of that power that makes him what he is. 330, 340 though. I mean, I think, yes, like Agent said, 350 is almost lean for him. That's why I was saying, I think 350 is like him. He's been training. He's going to be in good shape. He reminds me of the Polynesian guys, Samoan guys. Big calves, big legs, right? Probably some, real dense bones in there somewhere. They call them big bone. Where are you at?
Smoke break.
Oh. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see. I don't know when let me see. I got the schedule right here. Let me see when they do their weigh-ins. Offensive line will weigh in. Let's see. When did they officially do it? Today, what's today? Friday. Today they've got general medical exam, pre-ordered studies, team interviews.
Take care. Hope you find.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
So I'm guessing maybe tomorrow they got ortho, media interviews, team interviews. Maybe we'll see their weights tomorrow then. But I'm curious about him. Jaden Roberts is at the combine. I think he ends up going undrafted, but I think his problem is
now thinking about
he
this.
Don't move well.
He's sitting over there on the bench at Alabama, but gets invited to the combine. Should tell you something.
That
the offensive line coach to know what he was doing, and I mean that guy should have been playing.
I don't think that's what that means. No, he didn't move well, man. He struggled. His lateral movement really struggled.
Well, apparently
I mean, listen, he looks the part, trust me, and he's a strong guy, but like his lateral movement, he really struggled with. Pass pro was an issue. I mean, could he have given you more than Wilkin? I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch those guys every single day, but I think it got to a point. I mean, Wilkin, while he was inconsistent, when you bump Wilkin to right guard, he wasn't very powerful. He wasn't super strong at the point of attack, more of a position type blocker. even though it's more of a tight end thing. Which you get what I'm saying? Is kind of just getting his job done, not really going to be dominating guys, really getting great movement. But I think he was just a little more consistent, and I think that's what led to him playing over a guy like Jaden Roberts. But he played a little bit more the year before, and then they're also going to say, oh well, he's been banged up too. I mean, he dealt with a number of injuries. And that also happens too. I mean, I'd argue if Jaden Roberts didn't get injured early on, like whether it's camp or whenever it was, development piece probably would have been a little bit better. They would have had a little bit more confidence in him. But when you already kind of, not the best lateral mover, you miss time, other guys start showing what they can do. You know how that works.
Yeah.
But so they're saying in the chat about Proctor being a guard. I think he would be better off in the NFL at guard. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. With him struggling to stop speed off the edge, I mean, when he faces the likes of Micah Parsons, Brian Burns, I mean, guys that are, real edge rushers, real speed off the edge, also have good length, put you in a blender, great counters. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I think that could spell trouble, man. I think that could spell trouble. Guard, he would be in a much better position, in my opinion. At least to have more success early on. But, I mean, we'll see. I'm not saying he can't play tackle. I just know the edge rushers and the skill sets that those guys have on that level. And, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think, I guess the comparison would be Evan Neal, former Alabama offensive tackle, moved to guard, drafted high by the New York Giants, struggled, just terribly struggled. Moved him. I don't even know if he's still with the Giants. I mean, he's in the league, but he's a guy I always said at tackle. He was that at tackle you want lean, tall, lean guys, 6'6", 6'7", 6'5" with long arms. That's why they measure the arms, the wingspan. You need a guy that's got agility out there because not today, you're getting edge guys. You're not getting a bigger defensive ends no more. You're getting speed, right? 230-pound guys, right? That can run, that wants you to be able to come out and meet them in space. And you got to be able to slide, kick, slide, keeping those hands inside so you can punch when you need to, change directions when that guy spins or when they run games, twist, ENTs and T&Es and all these types of things, and you look at Evan Neal, you look at even Kane Proctor, neither one of those guys strike me as guys that are able to handle those types of players. Thank you, Dave. And so my thing is you got to be able to slide your feet and be good in space. And they're not good. Neither one of those guys were good in space. So, yes, to go inside. When you play guard, now you're talking about a more tight, closed off area. There's not a whole lot of space where guys can, move, right? So if you can slide your feet a little bit, now you're talking about playing a position that's more predicated upon power, right? More predicated upon punch, more predicated upon drive blocks, those types of things. So, yes, to me, Proctor strikes me as getting in that kind of system, and he'll be pretty daggum good. I mean, look at Landon that transferred to Alabama from Florida State.
Landon Dickerson, the center.
Yeah, he has no kind of ability like a Proctor or Neal. This dude done got fat daddy paid. Now you have a hard time staying healthy.
But he plays with a mean streak. He gets on.
But he's tough, right? He has an attitude now.
You're saying like from like an athleticism standpoint. I mean, I would say he is strong now. He's strong country boy now. I mean,
but that guard is what you want. Is what I'm saying, right? But
no, I get what
but
you're
at tackle, you want a long guy, long, lean. Don't have to be 350. You want 318, 6'6", 6'7", 320. You want him to look like a big physical basketball player that's got punch, right? That's the kind of guy, especially in today's game. Now, when I played, you could be that because nobody was, everything was in a box. Everything was closed in. So you could be that type of tackle. I mean, but we had a guy by the name of Jumbo Elliott, and guy William Roberts at guard, and Doug Riesenberg, who was very not a big guy, 305. Back when I played, that was small. I mean, he struggled with power. Richard White used to throw him like a like he was a balloon or something. But yeah, you got to find athletic guys that can move in space. So I don't know where Ken Proctor is and what they see him as, but if I was a GM, I'm definitely looking at him and diagnosing him as a guard. And that's what I'm going to, if I'm going to draft him, I'm drafting him as a guard. Yet at the same time, a little bit of
I would try him. Yeah,
cross training
yeah.
for him to say, you know what, if injuries and things like that became a problem, if we had to shift the line, which we see all the time, I got a versatile guy that, hey, you know what, if I need it for 2 or 3 games out there, he can make do. We might have to help him, we might have to chip, we might have to keep a back end, a tight end, I'm sorry, but we might have to do that. But he's versatile enough and has the experience to play that position. So that's the way I would be looking at him as.
No, I agree. I want to get your thoughts on hold on. I want to get your thoughts on something Ty Simpson said. It kind of caught my attention. And I guess I wasn't the only person because I ended up seeing somebody also tweet this. But he was speaking at the podium, and they were just talking about some of the inconsistencies down the stretch of the season. And his response was kind of interesting. This is what he said. I played it during the show, but let me put it on here so you can hear him.
Accountability in that. I gotta, make sure that we win those, big time games. I think that, this kind of happens sometimes in the sense of, right, like, we played better teams. We had better, they had better schemes, right? And, we just got to make it simple. We got to make the easy plays easy. You got to, stick to what we're good at. And I think a lot of the times, right, like us being banged up, we had some.
Now, I can see a world where he was kind of just speaking more so. Whoops, let me switch this. Wait, why is it like that? Wait, why are you so small like that? Oh, wait, hold on. I got to go back to the double. All right, there it goes. I can see a world where he's more so at least referring to, hey, from an execution standpoint, we got to make the easy plays easy. We got to execute. We got to go out there and just do what we're coached and taught to do. But that answer was kind of interesting. It just sounded kind of interesting hearing that.
That's called word salad.
No,
that was
no,
a bunch
no,
of
no.
No, it was a bunch of word salad.
No. Maybe you're missing what I heard. Let me read it for you because I don't think.
No, I heard what he said. Mate, what caught me more than anything was that other teams had better systems.
That's what I'm referring to. That's what I was saying. It's almost as if like, kind of like what I've been saying. It was like we were so complex on offense, had such a wide variety of things that we were doing, lacked a true identity of really narrowing down who we are as an offense, what we do well. It just seemed like each game, which
there was some out, yeah.
Depending on who you're playing, the game plan is going to look different. So I don't want people to confuse what I'm saying here. What I'm getting at is, though, San Francisco, they're a wide zone team. That's what their bread and butter is, wide zone. They build off that. They got play action. They'll do some mid zone. They'll do different things, but they are a wide zone football team. That's who they are, right? Like teams have like identities. Offenses have their identities on what they do. For us, it just felt like we kind of were just throwing a bunch of different stuff out there, seeing what sticks. That's why I always say we lacked true flow with our offense. We lacked an identity offensively. I just was asking, did you kind of take that from what he just said? To me, that's basically what he just kind of said right there. Low key, he kind of was saying that. Like, hold on.
We win those big time games. I think that this kind of happens sometimes in the sense of, right, like we played better teams. We had better they had better schemes, right, and we just got to make it simple. We got to make the easy plays easy. You got to stick to what we're good at.
You're on mute. I don't know if you're talking to me, but you can't hear what? You can't hear me? Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So yeah, I just was saying. I mean, he mentioned, better teams, better schemes. I'm just saying, to me, it just, I don't know, doing more of what we're good at. I don't know. I just the way I heard that was more so kind of like basically confirming what I've been saying.
Yeah. Eh,
I'm saying that, does that not sound like coming from an Alabama guy? Like, I mean, from everything we know about Alabama, like to hear like, oh, better teams, better schemes. That just does that not just sound interesting to you? He's over here busy doing something else. Some of the plays
I'm
called.
yeah. He texted to the two when I just texted.
Some of the plays called didn't put them in the best position. Yeah, I mean that's part of it too. That's like, I don't think he was saying like the necessarily like throw anybody under the bus or make it seem like, oh well. I think he's just being transparent and just confirming kind of what we've been talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it was. Um,
I feel like watching it on TV, you could almost tell by the motion what exact play was it. It was predictable. I mean, to be fair, there's gonna be some things that that our guys will do or that our offense will run that. I mean, that people based off of tendencies and formations, teams are gonna know what you do, but that's when it becomes about we just got to go out there and execute. You know what I mean? Just like we used to talk about all the time. You know, you have a dominant run game, just like Miami, right? When they were going for it on 3rd and 4th and short, you have a really dominant run game when you can line up and or that team or that defense knows, hey, they're about to run duo right here. Everything is telling us that they're running duo, and what do? They run duo, but there's nothing you can do to stop it. There's going to be some stuff that you do that people know, right? I mean, like it is what it is, but you make them stop you. That's why identity is so important. Like, Indiana, what was their identity? RPO system, right? A lot of duo, inside zone, split zone. That's really all they did. If you look at all the run plays they did, and look how many yards they're rushing for, they weren't doing a whole bunch of fancy, uh, design runs, or their scheme wasn't super complicated in that aspect. I mean, a lot of inside zone, split zone, RPO built off of that. That's their identity. So that's what I mean. It's just, I don't think we had much of an identity. I mean, you had pin and pull, you had inside zone, we seen us run some counter. I mean, we probably ran like a little bit of every type of run possible without really like excelling in like a couple different true run. You know what I mean? Like I half the time is like, do we want to run a gap scheme? Because we ran a little bit of everything, man. Saw a lot of zone, saw some gap scheme, and teams mix it up. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you don't just only do one thing, but I think it is important to at least excel in a couple of different things to have that be your bread and butter, because that's where your identity is built. Does your dad think this O-line coach will make a difference in the run game? I don't know if he knows too much about him, but I think what he mentioned, he does like the fact, like his background, he likes a little bit. Former NFL guy.
Yeah, I do. I'm back. Here's this in a nutshell with Ty. It's very simple. That was his quiet, very respectful way of throwing the coaches under the bus of their system. That's it. They ain't no thinking about it. He's saying, "Hey, man."
Okay, so that's what I was trying to ask.
They had schemes that we had, but we needed to simplify basically and take advantage of what we do best. They didn't do that. They did. Every week would seem like something different. I've never seen an offense that seemed to have difficulty. Just sometimes easy, safe throws for the quarterback. I didn't see that. I see it all the time with every other offense, but not Alabama. So he was just saying, basically, without saying the coaches didn't do a good job, but that's what he said. And how they had to try to.
Thoughts.
Yeah,
that's what I heard was basically saying we were doing too much instead of just.
Yeah, simplifying it and taking our best things and then let us go work. That's all he was saying.
Yeah, and part of it too, I think, is a little bit on the execution side of things. Like saying the players, they just need to execute, do what they do, but also,
of course.
But we can agree on, and you could debate that part. You could debate if he was referring more so to the player execution side of it, or on the coaching side of things, putting them in position just to simplify things and not overcomplicate it. That could be debated. But what you can't debate is when he made the comment, "Better teams, better scheme." There's no debate. Like that's literally
That's out of his own mouth.
Yeah, 100%. So, someone asked, "Do you think this new O-line coach is going to make a difference in the run game?"
Well, I think, you know what, when you get new, you know, sometimes with coaching, it's about sound. And if one coach voice and the sound becomes, you know, dull, yes, that new coach comes in and these younger guys, new guys, they want new sound. And I think based on his history, based on the experience, based on probably a mindset of toughness, based on probably, you know, a different kind of will that he's going to, I was talking about a coach that can encourage, a coach that can uplift, a coach that can, you know, motivate guys. Yes, I do. I think what you're going to see is a different a level of toughness. And so they got to be tough. Offensive line, man, you want 5 guys to build unity, right? You want to try to keep them healthy, try to get them 5 guys playing together, because those that can stay healthy and play together the longest normally creates the best offensive lines. So that's one thing. The other thing is mindset of nasty. You know what I mean? Of winning at the line, point of attack, winning at the line of scrimmage, finishing blocks. You know, never saw that. We see them get beaten. It was like, okay, nobody's took it personal. Like good offensive linemen, they take it personal when they get beat. And they didn't have that. But again, I know players take on the persona of the coach. If the coach's mindset is not that of toughness, that of not quit, you know, then they're going to play like that. And that's what I think was the problem. It's just, again, I like Kalen DeBoer. I think he's an excellent mind, offensive mind. I think he's a very, very good football coach. But if you're talking about encouraging and demanding toughness out of his kids, I have to put him in the negative there.
I should have got a clip from that part because I want to post a short on that thing from Ty's thing. Normally I just let the AI generate them, but there's no telling if it's going to actually catch that. I'm tempted to redo it. Suppose if you say the word clip that, it then makes a note when you go back and do the AI thing. But
I saw it on my StreamYard, but I don't know how it works.
I guess you just say clip that, which is probably now it's going to clip what we're talking about now. But no, I wanted to get a clip off of breaking down that interview thing because I think that's a interesting piece, man. Like I'm sure a lot of people probably just overlooked that, but maybe not though. I guess AO.com posted a news.
Well, clip that. Ty Simpson told the truth, what we already assumed and already knew. Ty Simpson looked frustrated with this offense numerous.
Wow.
And I don't know why my phone keeps going. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you got to redo it. That was good too. That was good. Run it back. All right, let's run it back like Jay Uso. All right, clip this. Go ahead. Oh hell no! Don't leave, man. I just meant clip it like. Oh brother, this year just feels huge for Kalen's future. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of attention on him, but I think you still just got to be a little patient, but you're right. There's definitely going to be some eyes, just how everything ended last year. It's part of it. You're not wrong there. They must have.
Anyway, I got to get off here. I got stuff I got to handle at the church.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got to figure out why my iPad rings when someone's calling me. That's why it freezes me up.
Yeah, I figured he's probably going
to. I got to take it off Wi-Fi calling. I think that's what it is.
We had to jump on Monday to talk combine because it'll be concluded by then. That way we can go back and assess everybody because we're going to be talking.
Yeah, I'll be home all day Monday.
All right, cool. Yeah, first hour we're talking combine, and then top of the hour we're gonna get Landon on here talk offensive line.
Yeah, I'll call him hour number 2.
Wait, no, I said he's coming on at top of the hour. Like, oh, you want to come on when he comes on and talk about offensive line?
Top of the hour meaning right when the show starts, right? Or hour number.
Remember, we're on Central Time.
I know, but is he coming on at 12
He's
or
coming
1?
on an hour into the show. At 12, you can come on when he's on here. I'm just saying, like, if you want to talk about combine, I'm probably gonna spend the first hour talking combine, because I know at the top of the hour, 1 your time, 12 my time, he's going to join us, and I'm gonna let him break down these offensive line transfers / returners. Give us his insight. So
yeah, I should be at the house.
He seems very optimistic, man. He seems very optimistic. So
we get my area set up. So hopefully I get that done Monday morning.
You think you have Wi-Fi at that point?
I got Wi-Fi already.
Oh, well, then you're good then.
No, I'm good with. I mean, I can get on. I just want to. I got to get a couple more things. I haven't got my couch yet, and I got to get my little desk area set up. But all good. It's all good.
All right. Well, yeah. Just jump on Monday. We'll chop it up then.
Yeah. Have a great weekend. Love you. Be blessed.
All right. Love you. Appreciate it. Yeah. We'll talk then.
All right.
All right. Chat. We appreciate you guys as always. You haven't, man. Hit that like button on the way out. And Monday, I've said it a million times. You guys already know, beating a dead horse. But Landon will be at the top of the hour, breaking down, watching some tape on the offensive lineman. That's going to be good. So make sure you guys are here for that. You guys like breakdowns, you like tape, and obviously we all want to talk about the offensive line. That's a big deal this upcoming season. We're doing that Monday at the top of the hour. So make sure you guys are here for that. Talk combine a little bit, overall assessment with everything throughout the weekend. And then I'm trying to think if I had anything else lined up. I know spring ball is coming up, and they told me Clint will be back on Tuesdays. Clint's every Tuesday. He ran into something Tuesday. So Clint will be on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got Gray Robertson from Crimson Tide Sports Network talking all sport, talk some football as well for sure. But I don't know if Coach DeBoer will be next week or what, but they said around end of February, heading into spring football, that he will be good to jump on the show. So let me put, matter of fact, when does, let's figure it out. When does Alabama football start? Let me see when it officially starts. Do they have an official day yet? I don't remember if they sent that out. Yeah, appreciate you being here, Ken. Seriously, I appreciate all you guys, man. Thank you guys so much. I know it's off season, a little bit slower time of the year. We're definitely trying to bring as much stuff for you guys still, but just know, man, we got a lot of fun stuff planned out, especially throughout the rest of this year. Once stuff really kicks off, spring ball, we'll have plenty of content there. So we're really looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun stuff, man. I'm gonna keep getting more and more people on here. Don't worry. Last week off for him. I was about to say it, second week of March. Okay, so I think so. Either next week or maybe like the beginning of the following week, we should be getting Coach DeBoer on here. I'm trying to debate now, man. I'm like, I always am very like just softball stuff. Just I'm appreciative of people just jumping on here, but I'll be honest, man. There's just some questions that I do want to ask that are just genuine questions. Where if I talk to him off stream, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he's very upfront and honest. When I talk to him like in the building, he's an open book, man. I don't want to ask him too much on the spot here on the show, but I do want to ask maybe just about his opinion on kind of what had gone into maybe some of the performances, like the Florida State game or the Indiana game. If there's anything he feels that they could have done differently to maybe, see a different outcome or just even a different performance in general. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's putting him on the spot. I think it's a fair question, but I don't know. We'll see, man. It might be a little bit of a softball type deal. Maybe I'll ask. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But anyway, Y'all have a great weekend, man. Look forward to doing it all again next week, and we'll see you guys then.